What is going on, everyone? How are you guys doing? The evil genius of professional wrestling, Titus Machiavelli. I got the dudes. They're over here, this side. I got Lucas, and we got you guys. What is going on to the RMP faithful? It is me setting in, guest hosting for your favorite Johnny Deathdrop. He's on assignment, getting some time away. Well deserved. But we're going to be talking RMP Rewind tonight. We're going to go finish up where you guys were last week, and then about an hour, and then we're going to sit and talk about NRW, and we'll take your guys' questions as well. I think we should just introduce everybody. So let's go. First off your left hand, top side, the big man all the way up in Maine. It is the one, the only, the Coastal Crusader.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Sunday. It was a beautiful weekend up here in the Northeast. Got a lot done. Definitely was still thinking about NRW when I woke up this morning. I got to say, I know it's a rewind first, but wow.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I spent the day working and thinking myself about that show and how things went and how things are. We'll talk it all. We'll break it down. But before we do that, we got to finish up. And the guy next to him, the guy to his left, our resident asshole. I'm sorry, masshole. The one, the only, Marky Pins.
I mean, I am not going to lie. I have answered to both in my life, but that has nothing to do with why we were doing here tonight. How's everything going, chat? NRW was a blast. So many shocks. We're going to kick it old school first, and then we're going to come back to NRW. Sit tight right here. All the RMP right here, right now.
It's all NRW. We're going to be watching some NRW
NRW,
Rewind,
not RMP. That's
and then we're going to talk. Then we're going to talk our NRW pay-per-view. But before we do that, we got to take one more person, my buddy, my friend. Finally, it took us years to do so, but one and only the Wikipedia of RMP. That's Lucas Bradwell.
The Wikipedia.
Got to get an updated name so that fits. I'm just recovering over what was a fantastic last 4 days here at Rocky Mountain Pro. We had shows all weekend. The guys and gals killed it, and we are going to finish things off tonight. We're going to kill it here on Rewind and then talk about that amazing event, NRW.
Absolutely. We had
which was historic, and I will get to the historic relevance later on in the show about why it was so historic. So we'll talk about that later on.
I mean, that was just a kick. I mean, the big, premium live event, pay-per-view, whatever you guys want to call it, that kicked off the weekend. Then we were at Bierstadt, then Romero's on Saturday. And the folks, as you saw, Mr. Fourth Row in chat, finishing things up in Snowpack as well. Busy 4 days. But let's see what we got. You guys know who's here. Let's see who's in chat. We got Mr. Fourth Row, as I said, the Canadian Jet. We got Queen Vampirist, Tommy Johnson, Marin. Who else we got here? Marky's
for now, but hope there's more people in here.
There's a lot of people in here. That is for
sure.
Throw
your name in there. Say hi to us, people, please. Let us know you're here.
If you want to lurk, but just say hi.
Just say hi.
Yeah.
We
like I said on the Three Stooges, say a few syllables.
But like I said, you guys will get a chance to ask us questions, not only about maybe Lucas is going to be, he is the encyclopedia of RMP. things that we're going to watch tonight in the rewind. Lucas is going to be able to break down some things, give you guys some answers, because this is predating even myself here at Rocky Mountain Pro. But we're going to break down NRW, answer your guys' questions at the end, and maybe if you want to talk a little of the the Northeast company, they kind of had a small show this weekend as well, not as big as NRW, but we'll talk all about that. But I think we should I think we just ought to get going here.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do that. Let's get Boom over to there.
Whoa.
What was Boom?
No.
Yeah, I was laughing at that too, dude. It's
Tell me about the PP view. Not going there. All right, let's take a look at
all right, PP Wee Herman.
The rewind that you've been waiting for. You guys let me know how that sound is.
Swan Christopher here with NRW Sports Entertainment, and I'm
Good
standing
in the Discord.
with the champ, Jesse Williams. Now, Jesse, you're defending your belt tonight against Duff Doyle. He's been in NRW just as long as you have. He's wanted that belt just as long. He's got the fans behind him, and he's hungry. What do you got to say about that?
I'm hungry.
I'll tell you what I have to say about that. The fans that he has behind him are idiots. Nobody respects me around here the way they should. And let's talk about Duff being hungry. Because he's not as hungry as I was to be champion. He's not the athlete that I am. He's not the wrestler that I am. That's just a fact. Because he'd rather run around in his orange hat and his orange vest and act like a clown. That's what he is to me. He's a circus character clown. He should go join the circus. Because he has a better chance of being the main act at some circus than he does of beating me tonight for this title. And let's talk about how hungry Duff is, okay? Because I was hungry too on the way here to the show. And I said, you know what, Jess? Let's celebrate our victory tonight ahead of time. Because I know I'm going to win. I always win. So I went to Wendy's. I went through the drive-thru. I ordered a double cheeseburger with bacon, no onions. Chick on the other side said, yes, Mr. Williams. She knew who I was. Because obviously, I'm a role model here in Colorado and the rest of the world.
That's debatable, but okay.
Okay, yeah, it's debatable. Don't disrespect me like that again.
Swan's dry responses.
Gives me the burger, I drive away. Okay? I take a bite into the burger. Guess what? There's an onion in it. I had to spit it out, and then I had to throw the burger out the window. It made me sick, because onions make me sick. Do you understand what I'm saying? They leave a bad taste in your mouth.
Well, I understand that, Jesse, but tonight you're defending your title against Duff. I fail to see how a cheeseburger has anything to do with that.
Oh, do you? I'm mentally preparing for my match, and I have to run into something like this, an onion. And I'll tell you why. It actually helped me. It reminded me that Duff has been like an onion to me ever since I won this title. He leaves a bad breath in my mouth, a bad taste in my mouth, like an onion. No more onions, no more clowns, no more Duff. Tonight we're going to get in the ring and we're going to settle this once and for all. I am going to destroy him. I'm going to take that bad flavor out of my mouth that is Duff Doyle, and I'm going to probably end his career. And I'm going to show you this belt, Duff. You'll never win it from me, but I'm going to give you a real close look at it, and you'll know what I mean after the match. I will no longer have that bad taste of Duff Doyle in my mouth, but Duff, tonight, after the match, you're going to have the taste of defeat, embarrassment, misery, and probably a bunch of blood, because he'll be bleeding all over the place. I'm going to tear him apart. Swan, this title goes nowhere tonight.
All right, well, let's see if this match is going to be a chiclet or another burger with onions.
You better
What
give
the
that man
hell?
his bacon. All I got out of that was hashtag need more bacon.
I find it very interesting that Swan Christopher was the one who was trying to keep Jesse Williams from having that.
A once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for Duff Doyle as he tries
A little
to
historical
gain
irony right
the
there.
NRW championship title right here tonight at Fun City.
On our national holiday.
NRW reigning champion, all the way from Tampa, Florida.
Cushman's favorite holiday.
Absolutely.
253 pounds.
I don't know if weed was legal there in 2012. I think it was
2012?
Yeah.
I think that was right around the time that the whole rest of the country went, oh, we want that.
Jesse Williams.
Look at this guy, though. Like, he might be a knucklehead, but that's imposing coming down the
I
ramp.
can't believe the crowd doesn't
Look
get
at-
behind
oh, yeah.
Jesse Williams.
Look,
He's
it's-
been a
I don't know.
great
Have you
champion, and
told the fans a lot about Jesse
tonight.
Williams?
I really believe that.
Yeah,
I know Jeff's been working hard.
I tried to
know
give a
he's
little bit more,
great
but
guy,
we can
but
talk a little
come
bit
on,
more about
let's be
Jesse
honest,
Williams
though.
and
There's
just
been a lot of
kind of
controversy
his caliber
surrounding
of
Jesse Williams
just how
and
really
he
good
obtained
he
the
was.
title
This guy
and how he's held on to the
was a
title.
guy that
But you're
really was
right.
on the cusp of
At the end of the
kind of
day,
making the big time. He had a
is
few tryouts for
more an
WWE.
RW champion.
I know that he was doing some training, was training some people down there in Florida. He had helped with some training
But tonight, that
down at
reign
Florida
could
Championship
very well
Wrestling
come
before
to
it was
an end.
NXT.
As you can see, a
just
new champion
has
tonight.
has a great
Ring
background,
champion
was a
in Duff
fantastic
Doyle.
talent for us, obviously, the second ever champion, but his legacy is meant a lot. Unfortunately, we lost him
Oh, yeah,
he
definitely
passed
passed
away
a
a few
partisan
years
crowd.
ago,
They want to
so-
see their man, Duff
Not
Doyle.
only the second
longer with
RMP
the
champion,
NRW
but also the
championship.
second talent to
Tonight.
go into the Hall of Fame.
That's
Here at
correct.
Rocky Mountain
official of NRW, straight lace Tommy Boucher calling this championship match. Collar and elbow tie up by Jesse Williams and Duff Doyle. Jesse gets the early advantage, side headlock. Beautiful headlock takedown. Very basic move, but you can see Jesse Williams in control of those moves here.
Yeah, a basic move like that from Jesse is almost a power move for many.
Yes.
Head scissors by Duff Doyle.
This ain't Duff's first rodeo, though, with somebody like that. This should be a fantastic match, actually. There's nothing to take away from this except this should kick
Headlock
ass.
takedown by Duff Doyle.
This is another one of those matches where at the time you wouldn't know it, but these are two former NRW champions.
Duff Doyle has been a permanent fixture, definitely one of the founding fathers here of NRW, and this is his first opportunity to capture the NRW championship. It has been a lifelong quest for Duff Doyle. Will he see his dreams realized here tonight?
There was a time
Handful of
where
hair by Jesse
Duff
Williams.
Doyle really was kind of the heart and soul of NRW.
Now Jesse trying to get to
You can feel that, too, with some of the shows and the audio. You can feel that.
Shoulder tackle by Duff Doyle.
there really was a time where he was one of the guys and really kind of kept things
You
together.
can see Duff Doyle swarming all
There,
over.
right
our
around this
NRW
time,
champion,
up
our
to about
current NRW
2014,
champion,
he
Jesse
was one of
Williams.
the guys that really helped us
And
grow.
he needs to. He needs to stay in control of this match. You give Jesse any room to breathe, he's going to be.
I mean, the
all
militia's
over
like
you.
a quarter of the crowd at
Jesse
most of
Williams
these
with the
shows.
ring
They're
awareness.
huge.
They really are,
Oh yeah,
yes.
Sometimes they would go 15 to
Which
20
allows
deep, even
him the clean
bigger
break.
than that. All wearing that orange. Duff would sell cowbells, and there was people,
Jesse's walked into the
having those
lion's den here
cowbells.
again.
We need more
So many
cowbell,
people,
says
all the
Duff.
fans, you can hear, I would say, 99% of the fans here.
I just
behind
ignore
Duff
the
Doyle.
likenesses they have to Duff Doyle. There's a lot. I'm saying there's a lot of family in that militia.
There's a lot of orange shirts.
Sending
Let's
Jesse Williams, the champion
do
in
that.
the corner. Jesse calling for a
I never
clean break.
understood the
Duff
the
obliges.
toilet paper in the boot gimmick, but
Yeah, what is that? What?
It was lucky for
Was
him.
it like
was
good luck
lucky
one
for him.
time?
Behind
Yeah,
you. This is
yeah.
where the
Dude,
crowd
that's
can
got to
rub
be
against
10
you.
ply because even 2 ply is going to
They're
rip.
getting under the
I
skin
mean,
of
that's some
Jesse
special
Williams there.
order kind of stuff.
That's Charmin right
blocking
there.
out
That's definitely
that's
Charmin.
Shaman. That's shaman.
The legend is that one time he accidentally left. He had some toilet paper
Duff
stuck to his
again.
shoe, and he won the match.
Clean break.
And so
Great
he thought that
sportsmanship
was good luck. So he always made sure
by
he had
Duff
toilet
Doyle.
paper.
how did it get stuck?
But you can feel
Never
the-
mind. I'm gonna
you
let
can
that
feel the
go.
intensity.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can feel
Well,
the
we don't have to
desire
go into that much
of
backstory.
Duff Doyle
Yeah,
wanting
all right.
to best and capture.
Because if
that
it wasn't like a
NRW
good
title.
luck charm, that was going to be a seriously gross story.
No. apparently it was good though.
I'll go with that. We're athletes. We compete. You understand superstitions all over the place?
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Sends him to the
Yeah,
back.
yeah.
Sends him to the corner.
I'm sure, Mark, you're like me. You hold the ball the same place every time.
No clean break
Every
by
single
Jesse
ball I
Williams,
throw
and
is
Duff
the
Doyle
exact same. And if I
responds
isn't,
in
I messed up.
kind.
We got
Oh, here
referee
we go.
Tommy.
Here's the temper.
Referee Tommy Boucher. I hate that referee,
Jesse Williams flying out of the corner and gets met with a
but that's
backdrop.
pretty normal.
I'm still
there's not.
up in the air about Tommy
Now,
myself.
this is where Duff Doyle
He's no McLovin.
needs to be on top
He's
of
no
Jesse. He
McLovin,
should
but
be
who-
out
but-
there
He's
But who's
Tommy
McLovin?
is
right now because this gives Jesse the opportunity
McLovin was
to
great.
catch his breath, to regain his composure.
He just got married
Very
a year
veteran
ago.
Move by Jesse Williams, and that is
McLovin?
one of the
Oh, good for the
reasons why
kid.
he is
Yes,
our
he did.
NRW champion. And as soon as I said that, Duff Doyle running out there, Machine Gun Mike,
He and his partner have been together a while
and
too.
is met
so
with a
very,
drop
very
kick
glad to hear
on
that
his
he's
entrance
doing
back
well.
in.
See, Jesse Williams is just playing Duff Doyle here.
Maybe we get him back to
know,
ref a
he's-
match.
he's the
Man, I
perfect
tell you
say.
what, knock on the door, McLovin. I'm
think
pretty
Jesse
sure somebody
Williams-
would answer it.
Definitely,
be a cool
he definitely
Shocktober
knows
moment.
What he's doing. He is a veteran in the ring. But Duff Doyle
Is
has
somebody
come to
painted
surprise a
their
lot
face
of people, and
orange
that is
in
why
the
he
Duff
is
Army?
the number one
I
contender
think
and
Queen was commenting on that,
for
that
the
somebody had a
NRW
pumpkin
title.
mask on.
Pumpkin mask on is what it looks like, yeah. I'm not sure the pumpkin in April.
Beautiful suplex by Jesse Williams.
But,
There's a cover.
okay.
1, 2,
Usually pumpkins by April are pretty.
Green?
Yeah.
And so is,
Well,
at this
talk
point,
about
so is Duff
controversy.
Doyle. So it works out really well.
Straight Ace Tommy Boucher, center of some of that controversy of the officiating. But
Yeah.
tonight, doing a
Every
really
time
great
I see
job
his
in
gear,
this championship
honestly,
match.
this is going to be a real
Sunset
deep
for a
cut.
pin attempt.
I think of Brian Christopher in the Too
cancels
Cool
that.
era.
Wow,
It was the
double
same
clothesline.
like
You can see
taunt on the
intensity.
side. Yeah, he just got too
Like a
cool
linebacker
laid
just
out.
driving him almost
Yes,
like
he
an
did.
STO.
Current champion and a future champion here in Duff Doyle.
While the immovable object met the irresistible force. An immovable object in that case being Jesse Williams won that battle.
Come on, Tommy, get in there.
Look at Jesse Williams is just choking Duff
I got to be
Doyle with
honest,
his
though. I
wrist
really
tape.
love the way that Jesse took that burger story full circle into wrestling.
Classic Jesse
Very,
Williams.
very
That
clever.
wrist
Because at
tape for
first
some
you're
reason
sitting there going,
always comes undone.
not quite sure
He
what
caught
this
it right
has to
down.
do
He
with
definitely
anything.
Very objective.
And then he brought it
Using
home.
That tape to choke Duff Doyle.
Made me
Jesse
want a double
likes those
cheeseburger at the
stories.
same time.
Yeah, you got to get
Classic boot to the
that,
head by Jesse
what is
Williams.
that, Baconator over
That's
at
the
Wendy's.
best.
There it is.
Oh, yeah.
No mayo.
Nope.
No mayo.
No mayo,
the
no
mayo.
ketchup.
You see that might have not worked in
Ketchup.
Duff's favor.
See, I
Stuff
like the
it.
Baking King at Burger King,
And Duff
That's
gets
good too.
A reverse elbow for his trouble.
but I'm a mayo ketchup guy on that.
Oh, look at this.
Foods
Danger
and Belt.
Dean,
Foods and
a
belts.
partner of Duff Doyle. They comprise
Oh, we got
Dino.
Danger.
four out there. You know, Danger Dean has had his run-ins
No beard.
with Jesse Williams.
Man, Dino
Tonight you
is
gotta
some
cheer
ripped
on his
acid
partner,
wash
Duff
jeans
Doyle.
away from being in an 80s hairband right there.
You are not wrong, sir.
You are not wrong, sir.
No. Those of us that were there for the 80s know that is true.
Beautiful throwaway
He has
slam
that.
by Jesse
He has that
Williams.
guitarist look going on.
Oh, yeah.
Not.
Yeah, he does.
I don't think lead. He's that rhythm guy.
No, he's
I
Fleet.
think Jesse Williams
He'd be
is taking
Fleet
Duff
from
Doyle
Red Hot
to
Chili
Oh, you're thinking
He's the
bass?
bassist.
He's
the bassist.
See, I'm thinking like
Yeah,
you
he's
know
the bassist, yeah.
that fifth member of the band, that rhythm guy who nobody remembers his name.
But he looks awesome when he's out there.
You see the crowd behind Duff Doyle.
I think
And
Dean had the
antagonizing
chin strap going on
the
at this
champion,
point,
Jesse
though, I
Williams.
believe.
Chin strap.
Yeah, he had kind of the
Oh, yeah, the
Down
sideburns connect to the
Ah,
goatee.
gotcha.
very thin goatee.
Oh,
Yeah,
tight. That chin
strap
lock
thing
looks
going.
tight.
All I know is he's got the best lettuce in NRW every time I see him.
You can see Duff desperately trying to get out of this hold. Reverse elbow. Hits the ropes. Oh,
Jeez.
Man,
clothesline followed up.
It's just a
back
knee for
cover.
good
Here's
measure.
the
You
run.
can't teach that. That's XP right there.
It is.
well, that's like I'm going to cover you, but I don't want you to breathe, so I'm going to hit you in the lungs through your back.
I know that I mentioned this previously. I in some way Lucas missed a low profile ring.
Duff again, the same predicament.
Yeah.
trying to
In
get
some
back
ways.
up.
Oh, the low
This time
boy?
ducks under
The low
press.
boy.
ways, yeah.
It made getting in the ring a whole lot
With a
easier.
series of
That's
those
for
by
sure.
himself.
Yeah,
It does.
Here we go.
That
Into
much
the
it
ropes.
does.
Beautiful hip toss.
Now, as much of an ass as
2 count only.
As Jesse Williams
You can
was,
sense
he
the level of
really
frustration
took a lot of
as well as
pride in
desperation
training youngsters.
Duff Doyle. Handful of tights.
He was responsible for a lot of the training of some of the younger guys that we've been watching over the past couple of weeks.
This is the moment
That's solid.
that Jesse Williams could capitalize on right now.
This is,
But
of
then
course,
the cameras come on and he turns into an idiot.
Cameras, and he would, he could still be an ass even in the back, but he did take pride in training youngsters the right way.
and of course, all this is
from the champ.
this is all RMP schooling too. I mean, this is before the Al Snow Wrestling Academy, which of course is the predecessor to the Mercury Pro Wrestling Academy.
Here we go.
Dino's being a good tag team partner right there.
Jet, to answer your question, in 2016 at the Milestone 6, Milestone 6 is the official last show for NRW.
Well, I did see that, right?
So last week, Titus, we actually was the day of the 7-year anniversary.
You had mentioned that on shameless plug for Mr. Fourth Row, his RMP radio show. Heard you talking about that.
He said he was going to give him a look.
He ripped his face off with that belt.
And Dean is kind of responsible here, guys.
Yeah, I gotta.
But Canadian Jet, to finalize that, Milestone 6 main event was so horrible, they had to change the company's name. And just for the record, I was screwed in that match, and I'll stand by that to the day I die. I backed Cormac Battle. There was my first mistake.
You lost you had 4 guys helping you, or 3 other guys helping you out. You lost to Nikita.
You're still my friend. Don't push it.
I know.
You know, you can hate him all you want, but he is a champion.
Easy, fellas.
There's a big disrespect putting on Duff's hat there.
Yeah, it is. Mocking him.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen,
He loved getting under the skin of
Duff.
Duff and Dean are not getting along.
Nope.
There's problems with D4 indeed.
Still champion of NRW by questionable means, I might add, but you are still champion.
Questionable means. You know what, Swan? Oh, man. He hit me in that trailer hitch, and I'm not going to lie. He was a tremendous competitor tonight. He gave me a run for my money, but it didn't matter, did it? Because I'm still the NRW heavyweight champion.
Still have that
I'm a
belt,
little
too.
banged up, but I'm not as banged up as he is.
Really?
The matter
Yes.
is, this belt
Stare
will always
at
be
the
mine,
rumor.
like I said. And
That
I
belt
told
actually
everyone else,
became the first Lockett's
when I took
championship.
this title belt and I crushed Duff's skull with it at the end of the match, it felt so good. And I want everyone in the locker room, I want everyone in the world to watch that match. Look at what I did to Duff. Think about this belt smashing into your head and busting you open, probably causing brain damage if you have an IQ, which Duff probably doesn't.
Although Jesse Williams does look like a cab driving down the road with the doors open.
Anybody that steps in the ring with me,
Yes.
Kind of true. Yeah.
just like Duff Doyle tonight.
You heard it from the champ, Jesse.
It's a shame. He got so big he never grew into his ears.
Yeah. If you want to call Jess, don't be doing this stuff now, KD. I don't want to see my phone number on here. Call Titus. That's all.
Information no longer valid.
NRW is holding its
Information no longer valid. That's good, Pat.
Featuring former
This was right about the time KD started doing
The Boogeyman?
stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
As Miss NRW,
Lexus Vane.
in addition to wearing the crown,
I always
throughout
forget about
2012,
Alexis Vane
you get
when
to
you
go
think
on a
of
date
RMP
with
managers.
the NRW personality of your choice. My heart belongs to Michael Titus. Ah!
Thank God I wasn't there.
guys.
Eli.
This is a real
Eli?
life loving moment you guys are witnessing here. Listen, you got to let this happen. Mr. Titus.
This is great.
Mr. Titus.
Let the love in.
Tonight's the night.
What is it with this company and abusing men named Titus? I mean, what the hell?
Gorgeous hunk of man.
I can't believe it. I don't know what the hell
Oh,
happened.
this is it. This is the date.
NRW. How in the world did that
You've been
happen?
talking about this for weeks.
This is
He
entertainment.
puts me in some
Yep,
sort of
this is
danger.
entertainment, guys.
He confesses that I need to be open to this relationship with Alexis Vane.
And on top of it all, I became Miss NRW. Ugh.
Oh my God. I can't do this. I'm going to find somebody. I'm going to have to get a phone call. I'm going to get somebody. I don't know who I'm going to get, but I got to get out of this.
I'm overcome. I'm overcome. I can't wait.
Oh, here we are.
Nice.
Yes.
Let's go.
All right, I gotta hit mute because you guys are gonna. I'm gonna bust up. I can tell.
Exciting? No.
This has to be like the best day of your life.
This isn't the best day of
Look
my
at
life.
this,
You know, I
Miss
can't believe
NRW.
Swan Christopher
What more
did this to
could
me.
you want? It had nothing to do with Swan Christopher.
It had everything to do with him.
It's that hair and that body.
Hey, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Hey, where's the waiter? Where's the waiter?
So sweet they
Guy
match.
waiting around here. I saw a skeleton in the corner. Oh,
I know.
Get this over with. Come
We're
on.
fabulous. How are you?
Speed it up. Speed it up. No, well, let's do it. Just give her anything under 50 cents, like these pickled onions.
What do you mean
Under 50 cents?
It takes more than that to sustain
It's like going out with Triple
You're
I.
not worth anything.
I'll tell you what I'm worth.
Yes, it is.
What are you
Identical.
I'll take whatever. I'll take it. One of everything.
What of everything?
One of everything.
What do you think I am, made of money?
And bring us a couple shots. He needs to loosen up a little
Give me the
bit.
strongest drink you got. I've got to make through this night.
Vodka.
I can do
Straight
that.
vodka.
Straight. All right. Thank you.
There you go. Bottoms up.
I gotta get
Oh
out.
my God, Queen! I didn't even put that together. Their outfits match.
Oh, yeah.
Jeez, look at this joint. What kind of a dive?
It's so cute.
Beautiful. It's so cozy.
Why'd you bring me here?
A little thing of service.
Their noses match too.
Really?
This reminds me of that scene in Raiders.
Bring us some
Yeah,
more.
right?
Yeah, bring us some
sure you can
triples,
handle
I
it?
guess. Oh, I'm ready.
A triple.
Yeah. Look at him. He's all tense and nervous.
I was thinking more about like Return of the Jedi, but
True.
Don't give me any ideas here now. What-
Okay.
He does give me that Salacious Crumb vibe.
Loosen up a little bit.
Loosen up.
Yeah, just you know.
What are you doing
I
to me?
mean, this before there was Remy. There's Beauty and the Beast.
You're kind of a lightweight at this, aren't you? Ugh.
Hey guys. Don't take
He is in pain.
longer in the kitchen.
You know
Of
what?
everything. You know.
I've had just about enough of this. Clean him
They
up.
didn't even get the food.
Put him in a taxi.
Are we saying he's paying?
Oh my God, this has been the worst night of my life. What a miserable date. What a cheapskate. Huh? Ugh, not even my sequins could liven up this date. I should have stayed home.
I love Michael Titus.
He's growing
Don't
on
miss
me.
out as NRW celebrates 2 years of New Revolution Wrestling this month, featuring Al Snow. Get
Michael
your tickets
Titus
at
is the one guy who, if he returned to RMP, would have me dust off that leather jacket.
I'm here with Mercury Matt Yaden. So tell me, how does it feel to be going up against your long-standing rival, Jesse? How are you going to get the title?
Well, tonight it's not just a match against Jesse Williams. We're longtime rivals. We've been around the block a lot. NRW Championship on the line tonight. A company that I take a lot of pride in, and now I have the opportunity to represent that company at the highest level. You know, Jesse Williams likes to have revisionist history in his head about our history together and who's won more and whatever. But you know what, Jesse, I don't know how well you know your Roman mythology, but Mercury was the messenger of the gods. And tonight I'm here to deliver a message to you that the world does not revolve around the sun. In fact, the world
Revolves around Mercury.
And I'm going to show NRW that tonight.
Nice. Nice.
That's enough said.
Thank you.
One reason is that his name is Titus, but there's also a intellectual equal there, Jet. This is the year that I met Mercury Yaden. This Mercury Yaden is the first one I ever knew, right here. Bakersfield, California.
Well, and you
TNA Gut
noticed-
Check Challenge.
Yeah, that was the same year. I remember that.
He was so nervous when I took him to dinner. We went to, McLovin and I went to Hooters in Bakersfield, and Mercury Yaden was so nervous about being in Hooters. I don't know what his concern was.
He gives me massive Von Erich vibes.
I see that.
During this.
I think he has a good fighting chance right now.
There's McLovin.
I think so too.
Yes, he is.
We'll see what happens.
He's got some
With the haircut.
size on him. He's got some reach.
Yeah, the
So his
last
arms are a little
few,
longer.
I think, couple months we've been watching. He got a haircut not long before this.
I think he's taller, isn't he?
Month or two.
It works much better for me.
Jesse. He's got him by like 3 inches.
He's not whipping himself in the face with his ponytail in the count. Probably for safety reasons.
And the
Well, I mean, he already
Jesse's
goes way
kinda
back with
getting
the
in the
count.
way.
We're going to see
Oh
some
my goodness.
top highs.
So I also believe this was
He
the
looks a little
first
like Jesse Ventura.
broadcast that they did on ColoradoSports.tv,
Former wrestler and
which
governor of
was
Minnesota.
a internet television company that we were working with. We did about probably 20 or 30 shows with them for about a year and a half. And
You're right.
yeah,
He's got
it was another platform to be on, and they would do a lot of the editing and the filming of the shows for us.
Who knows?
Yeah.
He doesn't need to win a match. He just looks good up there.
Way to go,
Abs are really
Encyclopedia.
defined now. I'm surprised. It's great. I can't even.
Going from that 4-pack back to the 6-pack, right?
Yeah.
He was a couple beers short of the 6-pack. Nothing that a few million crunches won't solve.
A lot of crunches.
Big shoulder taking the big guy down.
All right, here we go. Here we go.
There's a pin. There's a 2 count.
That's a 1 count.
Was it a 1?
Yeah, I saw 1. Oh.
The only way to answer power is with more power.
Just a 1.
It's going to be hard to out wrestle.
You know, McLovin's he needs to be a little more heavy-handed. Slap that mat. Slap that mat.
See what's going on. All right, he's pulling his arm.
Things I never thought I'd hear about McLovin. Being more heavy-handed.
He's not gonna tap.
That's the closest thing to something intelligent that Big Mike Smooth has said in a while. True.
He's got that.
I'm still waiting for something intelligent.
Swinging it.
It was close.
Little shot to the chin by Mercury Matt.
1.
Ooh, 2 count. Matt almost did it.
That would have been a fast match.
Now, what we've seen tonight, usually one of the competitors will.
Oh,
size
Lucas,
up
I
the
think
other
we
one.
still
We'll
have
wait
that
about 4 more
NRW
minutes.
banner that's
Boom.
in the background there, don't we?
Yep.
I think we do. I think it's in one of the storage bins somewhere, or might be even hanging up in around Matt's office or something. I'm not sure.
And
It
we'd
might
like
be.
to give a shout out to our men and women
Is this Red and
overseas.
Jerry's?
Apparently, the United States Army, representatives of the United States Army,
this
are
is Fun
watching
City.
this broadcast right now
This used to
out
be,
in Guam.
Yeah, it used to
You know
be
where
an
Guam
indoor
is?
amusement park
I really
off of Bellevue
It's
and
out in the
Kip.
South Pacific, kind of.
Bellevue and Kipling.
You know, off the coast of southern China.
Kipling and Coleman. Maybe it was or Kipling and Coleman. They're southwest Littleton. That's all I
really
heard.
appreciate you. We're so proud of you.
Good to have you guys.
Yes. I hope you
Yeah, with that low boy ring though, the cameraman looks 7 feet tall.
Yeah, well, he was a
It is a
big.
beautiful area, actually.
Yeah,
very
he was the
tropical.
big guy.
A big man, yeah.
Oh, very nice too.
Yeah, he was taller than me,
Here we go.
and I know he had about a couple inches on me.
Look at his head is over
Well,
the top
Yaden's
rope
looking a little winded here.
on the floor.
Why did we sign that guy?
Maybe it comes down to who's in better shape, right?
I think he
did sign that guy.
Yeah, he was interested in wrestling, but I think he was a cameraman for a lot of the promotions out there.
Exactly right.
I'm trying to remember his
No,
name.
not really.
No, it was just like a game.
Yeah, it was just kind of.
I can just hear Vince
not the
McMahon.
quality that we
Damn,
used to
he's
see.
huge.
You can't have every match knock it out of the park.
Well, he needs to lose the beard.
Just a reminder, this is for the NRW Championship title.
Oh,
On the ropes.
Right on the ropes.
Oh!
nothing fancy there. My God.
He'll get a receipt for that.
In the mail.
Mercury Matt down, but not out.
But definitely.
Oh, the camera guy won't get the aerial.
Definitely down.
Yeah.
I think the whole crowd is just waiting in anticipation for.
Jumped out of the ring before he could get a count. So it's still alive.
They better get back in the ring. We don't want to see another tragedy.
No, we don't.
Do you realize how heavy those belts are?
I have never held one.
They are so heavy. I don't think Matt Yaden, if he even won the title, could even like put it on his ass.
They look like they're plastic, but I imagine they're made of brass or something cool.
Yeah. They're really heavy.
Oh, the crowd chanting, "Let's go Yaden." Definitely a fan favorite.
He is a fan favorite. Everyone loves
Yeah, thanks for joining us in Cool Pot Jones. We appreciate it.
Here we go, Matt Yaden.
Nice combo right there. Puts the brakes on any offense Jesse had.
Disoriented.
He better put his hand over Jesse Williams.
And this, guys, this was the equivalent of Damon Ace and Mercury Yaden back in the day. This was the rivalry, probably for the first 2 or 3 years of this company.
Complete miss. Looks like he jammed up his
Big
wrist
risk.
or something.
Didn't feel like he was
Big
comfortable in that
consequences.
spot, did he? He looked like he was a little uneasy.
It looked like he was like, I don't normally do this, but I have to try it. And they call it high risk for a reason.
Oh. Got a 2 or 3?
I think it was just a 2.
Okay.
Back to that knee to the back you were talking about earlier, Mark, even his match with Duff Doyle.
Got his hold.
It's effective. You're in one move and then bang, your back's misaligned all of a sudden.
And look, he's got the straight jacket too to add the pressure.
You know, the crowd is the key.
I think so. Home field advantage, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's a good shot. Right up against the corner.
Here we go.
He had to put everything into that hip toss. My God.
That wrist is still bothering him.
Yeah. Oh, here we go.
There we go. Here comes the pin. And 2 count. Not
Queen
quite.
chanting Yaden.
Jesse's
You know that
real
Queen lost
good
her voice
at
over the weekend.
recovering once
Yes.
he's down.
He is.
He can flip it
He's a
around real
master
quick.
at that, which is unbelievable to me. When I get hurt, I get hurt. Like, I am
Second
down.
story,
I stayed down
spine
myself.
buster.
Yeah.
Or third. That was up there.
Another 2 count.
If I was up against Boogeyman, I would definitely just like run the other way.
Yeah. He's a scary looking dude.
He is scary. Like, ooh.
I'm surprised those little girls weren't scared of him, you know, letting him pick him up and everything. And
Every little kid in here was like,
so brave.
Worms, worms.
I would have been freaked out when I was a kid.
Here he goes, his
He's got the
favorite
belt. He's
weapon.
going to smack Yaden in the head with a belt.
Yeah,
I don't think
McLovin.
that's-
Oh, that's
Yeah,
not
good job,
right.
McLovin.
Okay.
There
Best
are some
referee in the
rules.
game.
Referee
Be
got
careful,
away.
though.
Thank you, McLovin.
Turn your back something.
And
Oh, that's what I'm
McLovin
afraid
is
of
down.
every single time.
Down.
Now, he's not in very good
You
shape.
never
so
see it coming.
I mean,
That might have
That's
taken
the
a little
understatement of the world right there. He's not in very good
match.
shape.
Zebra on the mat. Zebra on the mat.
oh my gosh, he's out. This could be referee.
Some brass knuckles there, it looks like.
Well, I was going to say, what was that?
Yeah.
What's going on?
William
You
Regal's
know, what
power of
happens
the
when there's no
punch.
referee?
There it is.
They can just do whatever they want.
I don't know. I don't know. So weird.
Just calmly put it
I
away.
think he can
Oh, here we go.
just take Matt out right now.
3 count.
That's it. Oh, the crowd's not happy about that one.
So 2 Jesse Williams
Kind of
matches,
an
2
anticlimactic
escapes
finish
by
to
questionable
that match.
means.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He made a career out of that.
Oh, wait a minute.
Something just fell out of Jesse's
Wait a minute.
shorts. Looks like
Yeah,
You didn't see it, McLovin.
He gave you the benefit of the doubt the first time with the belt.
Is he disqualified?
He caught
Is
you with the
McLovin
nuts.
disqualifying?
What's the decision?
It's a reverse. Matt wins.
Great job by the ring announcer.
Some administrative issues to work out here.
She's so happy.
Matt wins!
And we have to wait for an announcement.
Jesse Williams cheated.
I'm not as angry with Arius anymore. Yes, indeed, Jet. He is living my motto. You win by any means necessary.
I'm sorry. As much as I want to give this to you, Matt.
He's won this match.
And we cannot change the belt and only disqualification. I'm sorry.
Can now.
Now it can.
It appears that Mercury Matt has won the match, but the belt cannot change hands on a DQ, on a disqualification.
Ring the bell and restart it for 5 minutes. Not interested in that.
Swan had the power.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. You got hit with brass knuckles? What kind of chaos was going on?
Brass knuckles, a barricade to this side, brass knuckles to this side. Jesse Williams does what Jesse Williams does, and he cheats to win. This time he cheated and didn't win. I ended up victorious because of the disqualification. The only problem with that is title can't change hands of disqualification. So it doesn't really feel like a victory to me. Bethany Allred came out, the NRW lawyer, and set up. Next month, I get another shot at the belt. No disqualifications, Jesse Williams. No disqualifications. So all these little dirty shenanigans that you do, you can't.
Evil shenanigans.
I will win the NRW championship next month. You said you were going to go to the grave with it. Well, guess what? I'll send you to the grave, but it's not going to be with a belt.
Best luck next month.
Big
History of Jesse
rematch.
Williams. It's probably one of the most deep histories of any wrestlers in Colorado.
Probably the two top wrestlers in Colorado. I believe, obviously, I am the top wrestler in Colorado, if not the world.
Late 2007 is when I actually met Jesse. I think our first match, the first time we ever competed, was early 2008.
It was one of the most brutal matches on the card, one of the most brutal matches I've ever had.
And it's just been back and forth from that point on. You know, we've wrestled shows in front of 3,000 people. We've wrestled shows all up and down the state.
Well, a lot of the promoters would put us together, up against each other, wherever we went.
You know, always really competitive, always hard-hitting, always the match of the night. I love getting in the ring with Jesse Williams. Hate him personally, but love him as a competitor.
I don't really care for Matt. He's kind of a pretty boy. He thinks he knows everything.
As a person, he's a complete jerk. I mean, he's one of the most arrogant, self-centered, egotistical, egomaniacal people I've ever met.
I've really grown to dislike him as a person.
He's all about himself. He's never cared about anybody himself. I don't even know if he cares about NRW.
On a scale of 1 to 10, he's a 9.5. He's a great wrestler. Jesse Williams is an 11.
So the last match was for the NRW Championship. It was me and Jesse Williams.
I believe I dominated pretty much the entire match. I believe what anybody would do in that situation. And I nailed him with some brass knuckles, quite frankly. He deserved it, you know, knocked some sense into him.
Gosh, he's out. Who's going to be referee? Do we have a substitute? What's going on?
While I won the match because he cheated, used brass knuckles, the title can't change hands, so that's where we are right now.
I got the pinfall, so far as I'm concerned, I won that match. That should have been the end of it. I don't believe we even need to have another match at this point.
Winning the NRW Championship means everything to me. Being the guy, the number one, there's no better honor.
I'm number one, I'm the best. It means
you're not wrong, Jet. A little bit of a surfer guy there, right?
The people of NRW, the fans could be proud of, and nothing is more important to me than pleasing the NRW fans.
I'm in this business to be the best wrestler in the world and to make the most money.
My prediction for this match is that I win.
You're going to see me dominate, and you're going to see Jesse Williams put a final stamp on the end of the feud with Matt Yaden.
I believe that I have what it takes. I believe I'm in the best shape I've ever been in.
I'm going to defeat Matt Yaden.
Every third Friday, NRW Sports Entertainment presents New Revolution.
This is where it starts right here, gents.
Yeah, so from what I was told about this event, this was milestone 2. It has never been released because I guess they were having a bunch of technical issues, but they were able to salvage some footage. So this is really the first time anybody besides the crowd that was there has seen this footage.
Wow, really?
Yes.
Yeah, I've never seen this match
because it had never been released. We didn't have commentary on this. They didn't have I believe it was just I don't know if this was shot by phone or just somebody with the camera, but yeah, we didn't have the ability of an actual camera crew. I don't know what issues they were having that night.
Mm-hmm.
So glad I wasn't there. The boss would have been pissed.
Oh. Ooh. Deadlift stall at the top.
Aiden going up to top. Big suplex here, gents.
Uh-oh.
Oh.
He's going for it. He almost lost it.
We got the encyclopedia here, who's a pretty good color commentator. Or a play-by-play guy here.
So that was a huge superplex off the top by Jesse.
Anybody know how long into the match this was when we picked it up?
I do not. Honestly, I do not know. This was before I was even the commentator yet. I think I might have been helping promote this show with the Full Nelson Radio show, but I wasn't an official part of the company yet. So.
Uh-oh.
Oh, he landed on something out there.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
if you notice, it looks like Jesse was working over the knee. It looks like Yaden's knee brace or something is like hanging off his boot.
We're looking at the low boy ring, and it looks like a very small ringside area there for the talent to work through. So
yeah, I think he crashed into the barricade there.
Oh.
Was that on one of those go-kart barricades?
Yeah,
It looked like one of them go-kart walls.
Yeah, that was the go-kart area that they at Fun City. That was after they moved from the upstairs to the down. They always did it right at the go-kart track. I think there's only 1 or 2 more shows that they did at Fun City before moving east to Bobby Lashley's gym, I believe.
And of course, Bobby Lashley's gym is the first iteration of the school's. It's its inception was at Bobby Lashley's.
Yeah. Yes.
2 count there by Yaden.
Yeah. Oh.
Jesse had
big drop kick.
Big drop kicks like that. He got high. They weren't stylish. They weren't, but boy, they look hard.
That's a big man getting up 5-6 feet off the ground. Absolutely.
Man, I'm just sitting here thinking, if you had taken Jesse Williams' wrestling ability and put him in Bill Goldberg's body, oh my God.
Yeah, Jesse Williams was a little shorter than your average powerhouse, but had he had maybe 3 or 4 more inches, I think you would have seen Jesse Williams on a bigger stage.
chin.
Yeah, beautiful elbow. That was very
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. After the textbook leg drop, too.
Oh, we lost the
cut off. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you won.
I didn't want to give it away, guys, but I knew that this outcome. This was Mercury
Hi, I'm
Yaden's
Swan
first and only
Welcome to this special edition of NRW Highlights.
reign as
Today we'll be
NRW
taking
as
a
the
look at
NRW
main
Rocky
event
Mountain Pro
from
champion.
our July show, featuring
It's been
Mercury
11
Matt
years.
Yaden, newly crowned champion, defending his title against Tyler Cintron of UCW Zero fame. But without further ado, let's get right into the match.
Tyler Cintron was another one very, very impressive.
Very talented.
Yes,
man.
and very talented. So
Knucklehead.
I hope you enjoy this title reign, guys. Just telling you to enjoy it.
Retribution. Now there's a name that we should look to bring back.
Yeah. See, I don't. For some reason, I don't remember that.
July 16th.
One
So
month
we're looking at
after
roughly-
a month since milestone 2.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Because almost always milestone was usually always in June, but we did have a couple milestones that were in July.
Was 6 in July or August?
I think that was in late July.
Late?
I believe. I think.
I don't remember much about that match.
No, it was July 30. It was July 30th because we talked about this a week ago. Yeah, it was July 30th.
Wasn't the one during the pandemic? Was that in August?
Yes, 2020 was in August.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of
Yeah.
the world starting to open back up
We were
again.
lucky to even get.
Yeah, we were very lucky to have that. That was my return.
I came back. For
You
a
did
little
too.
appearance myself.
Yeah, it's my fault. Totally my fault you came back. Ooh, golly.
He got him sandwiched.
Yeah,
Yes, he did.
that damaged his leg too. Yep, you can tell.
Yeah, I can see him landing wrong on the back of his knee like that. Oh, and then the leg DDT for good measure.
Nice drop kick. Been doing that drop kick a long time. A little slip there by Cintron.
I noticed that. Yeah.
That outside had to be a little bit dangerous.
Yeah, it was a little bit dangerous. So see, it was done on that actual
Go-kart track.
So yeah, so it probably was a little slick.
Especially with wrestling boots. Not known for their traction. Oh, the knee again!
Oh, the knee again. Yes. Oh, quick roll.
Right back to the knee.
It's smart though. Oh, he ain't hurt himself more in that slingshot.
Yeah, but that was all desperation.
True. Hit it.
Look at the height!
Oh, man.
I'm gonna give us an instant replay. Wait. We gotta get an instant replay on that.
Your heart out.
Yeah, let's watch that again. Right, it'll be here.
There you go. That was amazing.
Now we know where the Usos learned it.
Holy cow.
Look at him up there.
Good on Yaden,
Oh, his
man.
hair-
But on his knee again, guys, for the third time.
Yeah. I was just busy marking out on the height he gained.
Seriously. I think he singed some of his hair in the lights.
Now I understand the low boy. He'd have been through the roof.
And this is the beginning of another rivalry that's going down in history, guys.
Oh,
Look
hell
these up.
no.
Oh, Titus, you know this guy.
I met him once or twice.
Had some business dealings occasionally.
Oh, McLovin taking a beating in this episode.
Yes, indeed. The
Where did
debut.
you get a megaphone?
Wow.
Debut of the Hall of Famer himself, Hoodlum.
And that's how Yaden's reign ended, his one and only reign.
A month.
Yes, 1 month title reign.
Unfortunately for him,
Unfortunately.
Hoodlum had other plans. So right now, I'd like to invite you to our September show, taking place Friday, September 21st at Fun City in Littleton. You can buy tickets right now at www.nrwrevolution.com.
Well, I gotta tell you what, kind of like that little studio show going on there.
Tyler Cintron will be
Kind of
defending
give me
his
that
title for the very
WWF
first time
primetime
against
sort
his
of feel.
arch-nemesis, the superstar Andrew Ryan.
Be right back.
All right. We're going to head ourselves over to the dudes, get some live
Entertainment. My name is Swan.
That's just Swan just giving off his name. Get some live reaction. Marky Pins had to step away for just a moment. Coastal, what are your thoughts?
Yeah. Man, Jesse Williams definitely passed the eye test for everything. I'm surprised, really, like Lucas said. A couple more inches, and maybe we're talking about him in a much higher light, but he definitely impresses me. And I definitely can understand now the whole Yaden hoodie absolute anger because, yeah, we saw in the early, when we were doing early rewinds, the whole losing the school, but he put him out of his only title reign, too. Man.
Yeah, the long storied history, Lucas. Tell a little, a little bit about what they're to see in the coming rewinds.
So we saw the end of the Jesse Williams Mercury Yaden saga. Those two, obviously, their rivalry kind of predated NRW, even going back to their days with Fusion Pro Wrestling, which was obviously kind of the inspiration for NRW. Mercury's his inspiration, but then he brought Hoodie out into NRW. Hoodie kind of had a sort of a bad reputation. I'm gonna be honest. He didn't get along with a lot of people in the Rocky Mountain area. There was he kind of burned a lot of bridges in some other promotions, but Mercury saw something in Hoodlum, decided he wanted him as part of NRW, and we've seen Hoodlum in some of these past episodes we've watched, guys. Had a mean demeanor, but got along with Yaden up until this point. But just like a lot of these other rivalries that we've seen in the past with Yaden, they always kind of wanted to get that power from Yaden. Wanted what Yaden had, and that was the power. Wanted and some yeah. trying to
sound a little familiar to a certain.
It's funny because if you were to name Yaden's three greatest rivalries, I would say I was one, Hoodlum was one, and Jesse Williams was one. And it sounded like that Jesse and Yaden never ever got along. Where Hoodlum and Yaden started out as friends. Myself and Yaden started out as friends. It's very interesting to kind of look back what you're saying, Lucas, and kind of look at the history of, part of the history of Rocky Mountain Pro is the history of Mercury Yaden. He's the founder. He's the day one guy. And so, going back here, not only do we get to get that look back on the company, but, the boss who wasn't running things at the time, Swan Christopher was, running the show, it's his story side by side. It's parallel.
Yes. And this is right about the time where Mercury moves to Kentucky, moves to Louisville, and is part of, or moves to Tennessee. Sorry, Tennessee, and is taking a job with Impact Wrestling.
Yeah.
And so there was a need for some other people to kind of step up in leadership roles, and Hoodlum kind of took that upon himself right around this time. So that this also had some symbolism to it as well.
He seems like the kind of guy who would not let an opportunity pass in front of his face. If he saw a power vacuum anywhere, he would absolutely insert himself in it to clog up that vacuum and take all the control for himself.
Well, that was the pitch. The pitch. That's exactly the pitch I made to him. When he and I, Hoodlum, pronouns, pal. Hoodlum and I, we were on the complete opposite, but we found that common ground. Mercury Yaden, and like you said, he saw the opportunity that I presented. So you're 100%, Marky. You nailed Hoodlum almost perfectly in that aspect.
He just seems like he has that extra level of aggression, that extra level of go get him, and just nothing's going to come to me. I have to go get it. That's a lot of life in general, especially in business. You have to do these things, and you just can't wait for the opportunities to come. We look at superstars throughout that we watch on TV. Edge made a career out of it, so it would make complete and utter sense for a guy like Hoodlum to take that initiative whenever it showed up for himself.
Yeah, but for Hoodie as well, it's not only just that's life; it's also survival. You leave the door open a crack, Hoodie's going to kick it in. You give him an inch of a window, he's going to rip it open and come in and take what he wants. You give him an ounce of opportunity, and Hoodie cashes in on it, and we see that.
Reminds me of Ganav Roche, Lucas, looking for any opportunity. I literally fire Hoodlum when I was the commissioner, and somehow he convinced Lawrence Ritz, my assistant, not me, that he was a German star with a mask, signed a contract for Milestone 5, and cemented his legacy at Rocky Mountain Pro. So yeah, he's that kind of a guy who doesn't see an opportunity, he makes one happen. As we saw here tonight. So now I'm going to transition us. We're going to do another 50 minutes. We'll do 40 minutes of NRW big show that we had just a couple of days ago. Leave the last 10 minutes for you guys to ask questions in chat. So get your thinking caps on. Figure out what you want to ask the dudes, whether it's about tonight's rewind. Lucas, again, is the encyclopedia for a reason. He knows all the ins and outs, especially during these times. They predate me, the savior of Rocky Mountain Pro. And if you want to also then talk about NRW, you guys haven't seen it. There may be a few spoilers. That's okay. Come back. You guys can leave. We'll let you go. Go hit that. Make sure you're a $9.99 pay-per-view tier subscriber. That'll give you every live premium event, every pay-per-view event, what NRW was just one, and every supercharged. And if you do that right now, if you go hit pause, go over there, get your subscription, go watch NRW, you're also going to get supercharged at the end of this month. So you have an opportunity to see these great events, plus you get all the emotes, you get the special once a month stuff with the dudes where they do interviews and members only chats. So hit that button. If you have seen NRW, stick around, because now we're going to talk about some of what that was yesterday. Now we're talking about today.
Yeah.
Yes.
So let's preview just kind of quickly, because I think it's relevant. The pre-show, Lucas, you yourself was the play-by-play guy there with Bud Bellflower. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but boy, I'm starting to enjoy Bud Bellflower more and more that we've seen him do these. Great. And Bud might have found himself a new career there behind the table, Lucas.
I call him the junior encyclopedia.
Got you.
Because he does know some stuff.
Well, he was the original rewinder here for Rocky Mountain Pro on our Twitch days.
Yes, he was.
I told him that he watched the history. I told him I lived the history. So that's the difference between him and I.
So
That's
we'll just
fair.
kind of just cover a couple of the there were 3 matches during the pre-show. It was free, so you can, after we talk about it, if you want to go back, and I suggest you might want to, with the main event of the pre-show. Ignition got cut short on Thursday, on pay-per-view Thursdays, and Ignition becomes the pre-show. We had 3 matchups. We'll talk about the main event in detail, but Lucas, why don't you give a quick highlight of the other 2 matches that we had?
Yeah, we had that reset. It was a gauntlet match, and everyone that was involved in that, they got their points reset to 0, but the winner got an extra point on top of that, as it was started off with my boy Brew and Mick Diamond. Mick Diamond, hey, he's been looking good lately, guys.
Backed.
Really
Yes, he
improved.
has.
Yeah, he's been looking good, but Brew, just too much man, too much power. Was got rid of Mick, and then after Mick comes comes the smoke of smoke and mirrors. Cushman
After the mirrors came the smoke. Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, and but Cushman didn't want the smoke of Brew. Brew dispatched of Cushman, and then it came down to Tengu of all people. And Tengu, honestly, and if I'm being all honest, Tengu actually gave Brew his toughest test in this gauntlet match. Was surprisingly rocking Brew there for a little bit. Looked like he could pull off the huge upset, but Brew caught him with a huge Buffalo run there at the end that kind of caught him in midair. And Brew got a big point. Brew finally gets himself into the plus, back onto his path that he's been wanting this Ignition Championship, guys, since we brought it back about a year.
Yeah, I remember that first night. He looked right at it with this longing eye that you look at a thing that you want and love more than anything. And then he went through some hard times. But even at the end of this gauntlet match, the first thing he does is look into the camera and say, I am coming for that title. So everybody on notice, Brumak has entered the arena.
Yeah.
And one thing I will say, Tengu, very, very impressive. But I'm not going to put.
Great.
He did, but I'm not going to put. I'm not going to slather him with a lot of love. It was his first minute in that match. It was not Brew's first minute, so there would be a little bit of winding there. There was not some equality, but Tengu did really come out because these opportunities that you get like this don't always come around, and when they do come around, it's rare that your name could be called for that, especially if you're somebody struggling, up and coming like a Tengu. So, he came out there and was like, hey, look, I win this, I get people in the back's attention, things can start rolling. Even in loss, I think Tengu made a couple of steps forward during that match with Brew.
And then we had another kind of one of those Lockett rivalries that we've had on Ignition. It was the Marionette Noel versus Lola. Yeah, what we've seen out of Noel lately is continue that viciousness. She didn't even let Lola get to the ring, and just was already starting with the offense before the bell even sounded. It looked like she was going to destroy Lola, but Lola was able to fight back. Get back in the match, and then out of nowhere she hits that X marks the spot, and that was about it. But it was a good. We've seen a lot of rivalries in the Lockett's division, and this is another one that's been kind of progressing and getting even more violent. And I think that's because we've seen the progress out of Noelle and just how vicious she's getting, and now I think that the rest of the Lockettes realize we have to bring our A game when we go up against Noelle now.
Thing about Noelle that I see the progression that she has made, even this in the last month and a half. But the one thing that sticks out to my eye is since Milestone, she doesn't seem to have a path. Marionette, dare I say, a puppet master, something that guide her. She seems up and down. Her wrestling is very, very good, is moving up, but her mentality in that ring, her ability to stay focused on what needs to be done, that's the thing I'm continuing to question, Coastal.
Yeah, the issue with that I see here is Lola, again, she wins a bunch of matches, but then she loses a couple. And then she wins a bunch of matches, and then she loses the big one. She gets an opportunity. Lola's got to figure out here. Noelle has figured it out. Noelle has figured out the more aggression she has now, she's harnessing that, like we said tonight. She's jumping her. Noelle is figuring it out. I have this feeling Lola's taking a couple steps back here because she needs to figure out a way to win this big one.
That's been an issue for Lola for a little while now too.
Yeah,
a little bit. But I think this thing with Noelle, we've seen her aggression turn up, especially since Milestone. She's lost everything around her. You know, JC is gone. There's no more Salem. She is just this, I guess, puppet floating on the stage with nobody controlling the arms and legs, and it's just doing whatever the wind kind of blows at it. Whatever string gets pulled, that's what happens. She looks like somebody who's just, even though we've known she's been off her rocker for a while, it's become more serious. And I think to compensate for that aggression and that just unbridled passion that's inside of her, or power, one or the other, she's escalated that so much that the other Luckets are having a really hard time with it. I mean, this is the best Noelle we've seen in a long time. I'll say it right now. She may be a little distant from the rest of humanity, but in the ring, she's looked better than she's ever have. If she finds this thing that settles her down, I don't even know if that's the best thing for her at this moment in time, because lately she's looked very, very good, and it took her getting Lola out of her own comfort element, because, boys, we saw it during the match. Lola took a shot to the face and she started leaking in the nose. Yeah. And I think once she saw her own blood, that was when the adrenaline really got picked up and equaled on both sides. And Lola took over and just finished. That X-Mark was delivered with pristine, with passion, and with like poise. She just dropped her, and that was the end of that match. There was no kicking out. There was no moving afterwards. So it took something like that to get Lola to that place, but Noelle is just lost somewhere, and now she's in that place. I don't know who's better for the wear here.
Yeah, but let's we gotta get to that main event of because we still got NRW.
We do. We do.
That main event, of course, was for the Ignition Championship. Champion Zamore, who I gotta say, I say it as every time we see see him on Charged. Whenever I'm on Recharge, you guys talk about it on Reignited every Tuesday or every Thursday. This is the best Jumbo's looked in his career at Rocky Mountain Pro, but he's taking on and he's very popular with the fans, but boy, it felt like he was the unpopular one because he's taken on Sergey, who gets a shot at the Ignition Championship. Lucas, because I don't want to spend the whole night on the pre-show. Give us just the last few minutes of that match and the finish. That I may be giving it away, but go ahead, Lucas.
Right. Well, Sergey was getting physically dominated by Zamora. He really was at the beginning of the match. Wasn't able to do much, but then he started to get it together. He started putting some moves together, and he was being fluid in the ring, especially those last couple minutes. He was moving around the ropes with grace. We was going to the top rope without stumbling. Coming down, we have never seen that before. It wasn't that he got a shot in the head. It was starting to come together. We were starting to see him do things that it was like all of a sudden he realized what moment he was in, that he was in the biggest moment of his life, that he was in a championship matchup. And all of a sudden it's like all that hard work that he's been putting in finally started to come together, and something clicked, and he was out wrestling Zamore.
Yes.
How did that happen? And he was finally showing something that it's like the fans had been waiting for it. They love all the goofiness and they love all the heart that Sergey has. But now that he finally put the wrestling together, it's like the crowd got behind him, and it's like they fueled Sergey to the victory.
And that is that your new Ignition champion
Yeah,
that you'll see every Thursday right here on this channel is Sergey.
Yes.
Crazy.
Yes.
Not since
Yes.
the mid '90s when the Nuggets upset the Supersonics. Has there been an upset like there was in Denver at
Oh, my
NRW?
goodness.
That crowd was
There's going to be a parade in Moscow for Sergey.
That crowd was very much behind it, and honestly, again, as we're going to move into NRW, so again, spoiler alert, it's the last time I'm going to say it. Sergey winning may have set the tone, gentlemen, for the entire evening.
Mm-hmm. Expect
That
the
is the
unexpected.
truest statement. Yes.
So
I will get to the historical stuff at the end of the show, but this has something to do with it.
So, let's just kind of get down and talk about the matches a little bit informal because I'm not Johnny. I don't have I don't have his run sheet. I'm not as organized. So we're gonna be a lot more informal about this. But let's just kind of talk about the show. I'm having a second here. I'm trying to remember what the opening match was.
It was tag team title match. Was the opening match?
Thank you so much. So yeah, we had the tag team title match, which really kind of came off a little bit unexpected. Where we had the champions, the Lemon Lords or Grapefruit Dudes or whatever they are, taking on the upstart tag team, the Reunited Choppa City. But things did not go, guys, as expected, or maybe they went as expected. If you listen to Danger Dean, the number of weeks we have not seen Manny Lemons, one half of the tag team champions. His partner, Lord Mitchell Taylor, has been trying to call him. We've seen that. NRW, no Manny Lemons. He doesn't show up, guys. Was it expected? Or do you guys think that he would be there?
I was hoping at the very minimum he would show up at least to defend the titles, or at least to show up and drop the belt. If you didn't want to be champion with Lord Mitchell Taylor, that's fine. There's not a lot of people that really like him anyway.
Yeah.
Right. At least take the phone call, show up and drop off the belt. At least be a knucklehead about it. Drop it and leave. But not even so much that. Anything to that effect. But it kind of goes with where Manny Lemons has been. He got the title and then he ghosted everybody. So Danger Dean makes a hell of an announcement, doesn't he, fellas, huh?
Oh, yeah, I was going to say Coastal. I mean, he makes an announcement. He effectively strips Manny Lemons. Good on Danger Dean. Good call. Absolutely. Of one half of the tag team championship. Kind of controversial, but he named a new replacement champion to team up with Lord Mitchell Taylor. And if you're shocked as I was, it was Derek Stone, Coastal.
I was very excited. And I think it's super fair, honestly. You'd want Lord Mitchell Taylor to have the best shake he can have in this match. His tag team partner, who he won the titles with, wasn't there. So who do you get? Somebody he has a history with, that he has tagged with before. And you get Derek Stone. Derek was more than happy to come out and help defend those titles. And you know what? I even think that Bruce was happy out there too, because we got to see a little wardrobe exchange early on. Bruce looks really good in that pink poncho, if you will. But
it looked natural. It really did.
But I'll tell you what, though, Derek, we haven't seen him in almost 6-7 months.
Just coming off an injury.
Good. Yeah, he looked really fresh in that ring, Marky.
But Lucas, the thing, I don't think Mitchell Taylor even knew that this was happening. You think Danger could have given him the heads up, couldn't he? I guess, because Lord Mitchell Taylor wasn't too happy. But also, Dean, to kind of close this out, opted, as NRW, every match has a stipulation. That's the theme of NRW. This situation was supposed to be a tornado tag team match, but because of Derek Stone just being announced and just coming off injury, he decided to make a little history here, Lucas. In the second year of this show, there was no stipulation. It was a straight-on tag team matchup.
Yeah. Well, and Dean was, in his view, he was doing what the fair thing was, and if he was going to throw in a surprise tag partner, he didn't want to still have this stipulation that would have really kind of been unfair to Lord Mitchell Taylor. So he was trying to do what was the most fair for Lord Mitchell Taylor. And so I don't fault Danger Dean at all for that call. and to give him somebody like Derek Stone, who Lord Mitchell Taylor was familiar with. It was really the best possible scenario for Lord Mitchell Taylor, even though he doesn't like anybody anymore. He's kind of made that
fact.
He believes that he's above everyone. So I don't think there is anybody that Danger Dean could have gave him that he would have been happy.
I agree.
And so unfortunately it didn't work out for him. And
it didn't work out for him very much at all, as the match didn't really last long. Marky, what I said might be a trend. Looks like we have new tag team champions.
Yes, we do. Lord Mitchell Taylor seemed to resist Derek Stone from the moment that he showed up. He was tagging himself in. He actually took a big slam, should have tagged himself out, but didn't. And then Chopper City hit it with what I'm calling that flappy dog. The Bulldog Flapjack combo was huge. There's no getting up for Lord Mitchell Taylor at that moment in time. And Chopper City standing tall, but they didn't just have the Rocky Mountain Pro Championships.
It's a very good point.
They had the old school, beautiful white belts, the NRW Tag Team Championships. I thought that was a nice touch at the show. I thought that was a really nice touch, bringing those out and displaying those again. And they both displayed some really cool pictures on social media. You should check them out, holding the belts outside the Wimmer Arena. Looking good, Chopper City.
Yeah, it was a nice thing. Derek Stone, I think you bring that up, Marky, walking out with the NRW Tag Team Championships, as Lord Mitchell Taylor had only had one half of the RMP. So I guess Derek took the initials NRW a little to heart, Lucas.
Yeah. Well, he's an old school NRW guy. He was with us almost at the very beginning, so he wrestled quite a few matches under the initials NRW. So yeah, he felt it was apropos to come out with those tag titles. He was probably hoping he could hold on to them, but didn't work out that way. Yeah, that move is called the Sucker Buster, by the way. I don't know.
They call it the Sucker Buster? Okay, my bad.
The Sucker Buster.
The Sucker Buster. Hell yeah.
I mean, now we have to quit talking about Coastal as he is returned. So, as we're getting ready to move on, Coastal, was there anything you wanted to say about the tag team championship match?
I mean, I was just very happy to see here are two guys that for the past year or so, they've been trying to find their way back to gold. And I'm just happy to see these guys actually straightened out. Atiba and Bruce didn't fall for the Atiba, as it was mental garbage at that point. And I'm real happy for them as a tag team guy. I think this is going to be good for the division. And I think I'm excited to see who their first challengers are.
Well, let's move on. My notes don't have these in order, so I apologize if I move out of sort of order.
The next match I know was Briscoe Crown versus CBD for the charge.
CBD and
correct.
Boy, I gotta tell you, what a potentially brutal type of matchup, a bull rope match. Marky, tell the folks a little bit about this charged championship matchup.
So this was very, very interesting. For the Charge Championship, both men were held together, looked like by about a 10-foot bull rope. Just a good old-fashioned rope. It had the ends kind of looped off. You put it around your wrist and you hung onto it, and you cannot let go of it. You are tied to the other person. And the way to win the match is if you touch all 4 turnbuckles, each individual one around the ring in succession before your opponent's does, uninterrupted. And it was very, very unique situation and way that the match ended, but during the match we could tell it was very, very obvious, Titus, that CBD had the advantage in this type of match. He's had these kind of matches before, and it was almost a matter of could Briscoe pull out a brand new page out of a book that hadn't even been written yet in his young career and come up some way, somehow, with a win in a match that your opponent has probably had several of. To me, that was the story of the match. And Briscoe does a very good job of hanging with him. Now, CBD shows that he's got the obvious advantage with it, knows how to use that rope so many different ways. But Briscoe finds unique ways to use the rope, using it as a clothesline helper, just giving him a good old-fashioned whip on the ass, man, just kind of wakes the other guy up. But it was very unique how Briscoe dealt with a lot of the challenges that were in this match. Fellas, you got anything that you wanted to bring up about Briscoe Crown and this opportunity?
Yeah, absolutely. This was what I expected out of Briscoe. Not so much. I knew he was at a disadvantage with the type of match because he couldn't really use his speed because you can't really get more than 10 feet of separation, Marky. What he did here was he I want to use the right term here, out-thunk, if you will, CBD. He figured out, okay, what can I do to negate the strength advantage? I can't use my speed. What can I use? My brain. The way he won this match was absolutely something he thought, if this is a situation I get in, can I do this? It was one of those, in football, you have that trick play that you save, and it's like, okay, if the situation comes up, do we do this? Yes, we do. And tonight it definitely showed that Briscoe was thinking about this match and the parameters of it before he went in. It shows that he was thinking like a champion. And, well, now he is a champion.
Yes, he is.
You know, Lucas, I've gotten to know Briscoe, in the last couple of months. You've known him a lot longer. One thing that I get from Briscoe is a bit of a student of the game. And you got to think that a guy like Briscoe, a guy with a sports mind, he's doing film study. And he's watching over on that Bird Network and checking out former bull rope matches, hitting YouTube, and may have got a couple of ideas because the way he wins is he's tied up behind CBD,
Brilliant.
and CBD's carrying him and just hitting all four corners. As he's hitting a corner, Briscoe hits a corner, and then makes his move on the last corner there, and gets CBD kind of twisted up. CBD hits him. He lands into the corner, and Lucas, new charge champion.
New charge champion. He his first belt of any kind. You know, he came up short in his ignition chase. Never quite got to the pinnacle as a tag team. This is really and the charge championship, as you know, guys, is kind of a launching off point for a lot of guys. Once they've gotten that charge championship, it seems like their careers, go from kind of the mid-level, and then they just start climbing from that. It seems like really quick. I think we're kind of going to see the same with Briscoe Crown now. I think you're going to see him just start to really take off. Titus mentioned it. He's a student of the game. He does a lot of study, and he also does a lot of asking around. He asks a lot of the veterans and tries to get advice from some of the vets that have been there, done that. So he's always picking the brains of ones too. So I can just see Briscoe really being a great charge champion. I think now that he's got that mental game along with what he brings physically as far as his athleticism. I think he's going to be a very admirable champion that we're going to see.
And the thing I had is he sort of out CBD'd CBD.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's you got to think you talk about not quite getting there with the Ignition Championship, not getting there with the tag team. And there's a way of thought that a lot of people do subscribe to is it's not wins or losses, it's wins and learning. And you got to think, after we saw what we saw, he learned in every one of those. And the Charge Championship, as Lucas said, such a great jumping off point to that next level of in Rocky Mountain Pro. We're talking about guys like the first Charge champion, Anaya. We're talking about Severino Corrente, Curtis Cole, Remy
Damon
D.
Ace.
And speaking of Remy D,
oh yeah,
as Briscoe celebrates, makes his way to the back, pops some champagne, puts his boots onto the side and relaxes, CBD is in the middle of the ring throwing a literal temper tantrum. Guys, he had tears in his eyes. He was crying that he lost. And then the lights go out. And Coastal, what do we get next?
Elton John put it famously. And,
you're going to steal my line. I knew you were going to steal
Remy absolutely quoted it
You
on
suck.
Remy's Instagram. The bitch is back.
He did.
And it absolutely, CBD went from throwing a temper tantrum to seeing a ghost of things
He had
wrong
water
in the
leaking
past.
from someplace else.
Absolutely.
From the top and from the middle
Yes,
area. Yes,
indeed.
you did.
What a
yeah.
what an amazing return! New music, a new take on the entrance video. But oh my lord,
New attitude.
did
new
you
look.
see the
Man.
upper body on Remy?
He came out looking like Michael Jackson when he sang Billie Jean, and we saw the moonwalk for the first time, and then he took that jacket off, and it was nothing but demolition. And that man got in the ring, and I'll tell you this, CBD ran for the damn hills faster than the Amtrak could get you there. Oh, it was hilarious to see. That's everything that guy deserved. And by the way, from a dad in the room, I got 2 kids. That was absolutely a 4.5-year-old's temper tantrum. That wasn't 2.5. That was a 4.5-year-old.
I have a 4.5-year-old.
That's
Yes,
a
that would.
4.5-year-old's temper tantrum, and he got everything he deserved. No candy bar for you when you're going to bed when we get home.
He was
Lucas-
absolutely in Colorado Springs by the time Remy's music stopped.
Oh, he's
That's
back
right.
in Dollywood. No time. He saved on the flight. Lucas, Remy is the beauty. Remy is the beast. Remy is back. You were there inside the arena. How was that crowd response there?
That crowd was electric. And I think there was literal goosebumps on everyone when that music hit. You could just, it was like, oh my goodness. And I don't think we quite appreciate someone until they're gone for a little bit. I honestly think
true.
we've missed having it's hard to describe Remy. He's just so charismatic and he's such a presence in our company, and that was missing. And now to have that back, it's like we got a big piece of kind of what makes us Rocky Mountain Pro back with having Remy back.
It was something to see. We've already now have another match, championship match, and oh look, another championship changed hands. Moving on, I believe our next match is the it
was the Lockettes match.
Lockettes match.
Yeah.
Adrian and Lilith.
And that was a match. That was a submission match between champion Lilith Grimm and the challenger Adrian Mascara. Let's start with Coastal here. Coastal, tell us a little bit about this.
Oh man, I think this kind of played out exactly the way I thought it would be, because in the leading up to it, we saw Lilith very confident. She has that title. She's very much, I'm defending it. I've waited so long to have this. We see Adrian Mascara training, going through, basically sparring with different people, learning different submission skills. She already has that arm bar, that psychedelic. It's one of those things, when I heard the stipulation, I'm like, oh, this is very much a coin flip. Because as devastating as the Lilithine is, it's not a submission move. It'll knock you out. You can't continue. But it's not really a submission move. So I gave it to Adrian on that. And then this match was just straight up. Adrian Mascara has that desire. She's on that roll. I will tell you something. Momentum plays a lot in any sport. And she had that momentum on her side. Yes, Lilith was walking in her first defense. What do we always say here, guys? Is it harder to become a champion or stay a champion? Well, we found out firsthand, especially all night tonight, it's certainly harder to stay a champion. I'm not taking anything away from Lilith Grimm. This was an intense match. She threw everything she could at Adrian Mascara. It's one of those things when these two could wrestle this match 10 times. I think it's going to come out 5-5 a lot of the time.
I agree.
It really is. I was so impressed, and especially at the end. Say what you want, Lilith didn't give up. She passed out. But Adrian Mascara, what a performance. What a rise to the top. Just very impressive.
Yeah, Marky, what a rise for sure. Coastal mentions momentum, and obviously I think that momentum was in Adrian's advantage at NRW, but also there's a momentum I think that you feel when you feel somewhat like the winds of change. this is the 4th championship to fall on this night. Going back to counting the pre-show with the Ignition Championship, you got to wonder if you're going, oh my gosh, that's another one. Maybe I can do. Maybe it's my night too. Momentum.
4 for 4 so far.
Momentum, Marky. It's a thing.
I totally agree it's a thing, and we've been watching Adrian riding that wave of momentum, getting training from those who've already been there. We saw her working out with Echo and Atiba, and she was dismantling Echo a few times, and she looked like she learned a few moves from him. So we almost see something similar to the Liu Kang drop kick in the corner during the match, more of just a straight drop kick, but we haven't really seen her do stuff like that before. She had been... It's obvious the momentum upstairs in here, but you have to translate that physically into the match. And as much as you're watching and you're learning on your own, there's still the other half of it of the other competitor. We saw Adrian Mascara do something that not only keep up with Lilith Grimm, not really outmatch her for power, but out-reversal her. Adrian was like that cat that you couldn't get a hand on. It was just too quick. Like in Rocky when Mick used to tell him, catch the chicken. He couldn't catch the chicken.
Crazy
so fast. Right. We even see Adrian get out of the Lilithine at one point. She ended up rolling her way out when we've seen nobody even come close to that. This kid was ready. She was willing. She got it done against a wicked game, Lilith Grimm. Take nothing away from Lilith Grimm whatsoever. She threw everything but the absolute kitchen sink at Adrian Mascara. But I got to give it and agree with what Coastal said, that I think Adrian's background of being a submission wrestler, having that submission that has been tried and proven in RMP, helped that confidence, which that's been carrying her momentum, which led her to the destiny of what she accomplished at NRW. Good for Adrian Mascara. Lilith Grimm, by no means out of the discussion in the Lockett's title match. We're going to see her back very soon, knocking on Adrian's door for another shot at that, or earning her way back up to it.
Exactly.
Outstanding Lockett's match.
Exactly what I was going to ask you, Lucas. I mean, obviously, this is not the end of Lilith Grimm by any means. You got to figure that she's going to, go back, figure out what she did, what she could do better, and I would expect her, Lucas, to be back at her fairly quickly, wouldn't you not?
I totally would say she's going to be back right away. I kind of think, and this is just me kind of speculating, I wonder if what she had to go through with the asylum took so much out of her, and then when she finally
that's a fair point.
When she finally got to the mountaintop, finally got that belt, maybe it was she didn't really let up. I don't want to use that word, but I'm thinking maybe it was kind of an exhale, and maybe just didn't quite expect to get the fight out of Miss Adrian that she thought she was, and now she's going to learn her lesson, and you realize you can't take anybody lightly here,
right?
And I kind of think that's what is going to happen with Lilith Grimm. She's going to go back, look at the mistakes she made and fix it, and get back to kind of being the dominant Lockett that we have.
And to Coastal's point, and this evening's show's point, championships are hard to hold on to.
Yes, they are.
For
especially at NRW. They were very hard to hold on to.
Yeah.
I believe our next matchup is, that losing team disbands tag team match. It would be the matchup between the rivalry of La Isla, Balaam Lynx, and Echo. And, of course, the longest reigning tag team champions in Rocky Mountain Pro history, Caden Koyama, Johnny Casanova, JK Pop. This has been brewing and brewing and brewing and brewing for months and months and months and months. We thought this all sort of maybe came to an end at Milestone, kind of, after, everybody had their own little thing, and then it picked back up after that. And Danger Dean finally losing it was about 2 weeks ago on Charge and said, that's it. You guys are going to face, and the losing team is going to disband. So, something that D'Lo said on the show was, you've got the hottest tag team taking on the most decorated tag team, and one of them isn't going to survive the night. Marky, tell the folks about the match.
The match was absolutely outstanding with so much on the line for both teams. And I got to say, more for JK Pop. And because of their history. because of their connection with each other. They've been a team far longer than La Isla has, probably longer than maybe Balaam, Lynx, and Echo have even known each other. So this is big for JK Pop. This is huge. Echo and Balaam have a massive score to settle. We've seen Echo many times in chat here, Echo Boosin. We've seen Balaam Lynx in chat. And every time we start talking about JK Pop, they have two words that they repeat, and those words are on site. And this is exactly what we get out of La Isla JK Pop. The moment that bell rings, there is just haymakers and pandemonium and everything. These are four guys that cannot stand each other. Two teams that represent totally different everythings in Rocky Mountain Pro, with the stakes never being larger. This isn't for the titles. This isn't for a #1 contendership. This is for your very tag team life in this particular match. So all four of these guys step up. And to be honest, I got to give it to them, and I hate doing it. I've said it a million times. The first guy out of the gate that really shows me that he is here for the fight and he is here to defend his team is Johnny freaking Casanova. When we see him going at it and really getting going on Echo and then on Lynx, he has turned the aggression up to 15 tonight, or at NRW the other night. There was no just kind of working it around and getting the feeling. JK Pop wanted to start fast. They wanted to start hot and heavy, and they did. And they do a very good job of isolating Echo, distracting Ref Alice, playing the game that we see JK Pop literally be masters of. They're knuckleheads. They kind of do the stupid thing. They go the other way. They take the easy way out. But when they are working together, they are absolute tag team technicians. There's a book you could write about how good they are about doing it. But as we get longer and longer into the match here, La Isla finds ways, gets Echo, gets a big hot tag. Balaam comes in and gets a big, huge hot tag, and we see something accidental, and I think Echo figured it out. We saw Balaam Lynx in one of his moments accidentally give Echo an animality and kick him off the apron, but Balaam was just in such a mode that he kept going, and he does end up getting the pin. He hits the beautiful Total Eclipse Brainbuster on Casanova and pins him, and La Isla wins this match, goes forward, and is still in the tag team division. JK Pop, boys, back to literal square one, and they are looking at each other as two broken and dejected men who have just had this taken away from them. But you know what? Karma is a wonderful thing in the universe. This is how many teams have lost to JK Pop. They've lost their titles to JK Pop. They've lost their dignity to JK Pop. And it was good to just see the universe turn around and give everybody that's been wronged once one good receipt. And JK Pop, you got a long ladder to climb, even though we see later that maybe the split, maybe they're not going to pay that much mind. But at this moment in time, the tears were flowing and they couldn't figure out what to do. So little bit going on there, but also, fellas, there's one little thing we have to talk about. Even though they high-fived and shook, there was a minute there where it was a little bit rocky with La Isla when Echo got back up. So Echo and Balaam do win this match, boys, but there's still two very distinct stories going forward. But these four guys put on a clinic of a tag team match. They left it all out there.
Well, in the grips of war, and that's what these four men have been doing for months.
It is.
Tensions run high. Partners get mad at each other. I'm confident there's no issue there. Lucas, I'm going to come back to you in a second and talk to you about what this means in the world of Rocky Mountain Pro. Having the disbanding of JK Pop. I'm having to come back to you in a second, but Coastal, I'm gonna come to you first and talk. You're my tag team guy, so tell the folks your thoughts on this matchup.
So I got a hot take on this. I actually think this match was more important than if it was a title match, because I honestly think that La Isla could have lived with, okay, we didn't win the titles. I even think they could have lived with, okay, we got a breakup. Now we're singles people. I think the thing they couldn't have lived with was they have a chance to end JK Pop, and if they didn't do it, it was always something that was going to bother them. It'd be a bigger missed opportunity than winning those titles. They can win singles gold. They don't have an opportunity to literally make up for everything JK Pop has put them through in the last 12 through 16 months. This was an incredible tag team match. And I'll tell you what, Marky was absolutely right. Johnny Casanova, everybody in this match brought it. This was as close to redlining your engine as you could get for every one of these guys. I have to say, and I'm very interested, Mark even said it, I noticed they're not done as a tag team. We'll talk about that later. This honestly kind of might give them both a chip on their shoulder. And I'm just being devil's advocate here. Lucas may be able to speak to this with what can come next. This almost would make them dangerous as singles people because they're always going to have one another by their side. So now the JK Poppery is always in full effect.
Lucas, what is the effect on Rocky Mountain Pro, the tag team division, everything moving forward with, arguably one of the 2 or 3 best tag teams this company has ever had? Easily, they are the longest reigning, 2+ years. What is the effect? What happens tomorrow when it comes to that?
So the effect is that now you have the team that was always the team that everyone was aiming for, even if they weren't the tag team champions, which they have been for the better part of almost 3 years. You think about it, they've had over the past 3 years, they've had the tag team titles for the majority of that time. But they were always a team that everyone aimed for, that it was, they were the ones that everyone looked for, that if you were starting a tag team or, you were coming in from out of state as a tag team, that was the team that everyone aimed for when you talked about Rocky Mountain Pro. So now the tag team division is all kind of upside down. You got Choppa City, who kind of is reunited, newly reunited. They're the tag team champions. So it's, it's not like they're rock solid as a tag team right now. I mean, yes, they are the tag team champions, but they're not on the level that JK Pop was, say, a year ago. Or even La Isla. La Isla's kind of, even though La Isla has been, great, it kind of seems like they still might have designs to kind of do some of their singles things as well. So it's not like they're going to be a full-time tag team. We don't know. So with having JK Pop now, as they cannot be a quote-unquote tag team, they can't compete for tag team titles, they can't work in tag team matches, that changes that platform. But you guys brought up a good thing, that if they just still decide they want to help each other out, they could both be dangerous singles competitors and do some damage in whatever. They could really run roughshod on a lot of the roster because of how they work together, even though they're not a tag team anymore. So yeah, it brings a different dynamic, but I still think they're going to play a big part in Rocky Mountain Pro. It's in their blood. They've got to make a splash. Johnny Casanova and Caden Koyama are not going to just let this sit without trying to make their mark in the company.
And it's not like they're fired or they have to leave or any of that kind of stuff. They're both still talent on the roster. I think that for me, the one thing that just is the biggest question, and it's going to take, it's going to take a while to get the answer, is there's a giant opening now to be the team at Rocky Mountain Pro. So does this mean that 2 guys go, you know what? These guys are out. Things are wide open. We've been talking about doing something. Let's make a run. Maybe some team from the past, maybe some team from outside of our region. I think there's going to be there's a giant hole at the top of the RMP tag team division with this, this breakup of JK Pop. And it's going to be interesting to see how that turns out over the coming weeks, months, and God, you can even say years.
Well, JK Pop has been influencing RMP history for years. There's nothing to say that it wouldn't go more than a few more. If there's one thing I learned, see these guys, never take them lightly. Never think that you have them in a corner, because they will come up with something else, and usually it looks orange. Be careful of these guys, singles, tag teams. But still be careful.
On a personal note, couldn't happen to a better bunch of guys.
I couldn't agree more, Titus. I could not agree more.
Neck still hurts. All right, let's move on, shall we?
Beautiful thing.
A featured match, which I got to tell you guys, if I'm going to be honest about this one might be my personal favorite match of the whole night.
This was cool. This was very cool.
This next match is we got we found out just on Recharged. My little birdies are out there always working. Found out that for sure Jason Knoll was signed to have a match with former WWE world-renowned superstar Sin Bodhi, and we find out, Lucas, you find out and you announce it on the pre-show. This is going to be just a good old-fashioned body slam match. These two big, strong men. Who's going to be the guy who dumps the other out? I'm going to start with Lucas because Lucas, you and I are the older two guys here, and this is so reminiscent of Andre and Stud and man,
$10,000 body slam.
Yeah, man, I love this thing, Lucas. What you were, you weren't calling this, but you were there at the show. Tell me a little bit what your experiences were.
Yeah, I was watching this back on the screen, and it kind of gave me some old school flashbacks, and I think you and I have talked about this, Titus, that we both kind of see there's definitely an old school feel to kind of how Sin Bodhi does his rings. It goes in the ring. He's got this old school, kind of, even though he's weird and does a lot of weird things, his tactics, his style is kind of old school. And Jason Knoll, he's been around a long time. He's 15 plus year veteran. He's got a lot of old school kind of tendencies. So watching these two battle it out, they they kind of are perfect for this style of matchup, where you just have two big old guys. I don't know if this, would you say this is a Haas fight, Titus? Is this a Haas fight?
I don't know the answer to that one. I don't know because they were beating the ever living tar out of each other. So I'm going to say, these are two guys.
I think so.
Two beefy guys who were just laying in the ham hocks. I'm going to go with you, Lucas. That would be definitely a Haas fight.
All right. So
we were having this debate a couple days ago.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were having a debate on what qualified as a Haas fight, because it's not just two big old men going at it. There has to be a sort of physicality to the matchup as well. We believe to be qualified as a Haas fight. So, but yeah, I'd say this qualified as a Haas fight. These two battle it out, trying to outstrength one another, and then it starts getting into more of a kind of a strategy of there towards the end of how exactly they're going to pull this off, because one would pick up the other one but not have enough to actually get them over. The other one would use their body weight, flip them down, and it was kind of a back and forth, and then they started just trying to pound one another till they could physically get the other one up. But in the end, Sin Bodhi was able to muscle up Jason Knoll, get him down for that body slam, and Sin Bodhi was able to win a body slam challenge. It was highly entertaining. I know you probably loved the back and forth action that we saw, Maki, with just these two trying to out physical one another.
That was just what it was, man. Like you said, Titus, these guys just laying in the haymakers, hitting each other with everything except the kitchen. They're going back and forth with the headbutts, two big fellas throwing their weight around. This was there's a good old-fashioned beat 'em up. Not a lot of technician involved in this, but you still got to find a way to get to that body slam. And each guy did a good job of getting out of some hairy predicaments where it was this close and holding the ropes one side, just dead weighting yourself like Jason Knoll did on top of Sin Bodhi. Both of these guys showed a lot of XP in an unorthodox style match that you may not have had too many of in your career. But Sin Bodhi comes up on top, nice hangman, gets back in, dodges a line, big body slam, and he tries to put her there, right? He tries to give Jason Knoll the opportunity to earn the respect, because he earned Sin's respect in that match. And this is what we've heard, and you fellas, we can all kind of echo this here, that Jason's been looking for that respect ever since he got back, and that he's been coming in and just beating people up left and right, whether he's won or not. He's just been going out there and throwing his weight around, and he threw his weight around against a Sin Bodhi. Sin finds a way to win. I'm not going to say he escaped with a win, but Sin used his brain, got out of dodge when it mattered, and was there when it mattered. He goes to put her there, give her the old handshake, and let's say, good match, guy. And Jason Knoll kind of just gives him the hell with you and walks away. So now I'm a little confused. Is it really respect Jason wants, or is it the win so he can rub it in your face, but when he loses, he cries foul? I don't know. I'm not going to ask him that question because I don't feel like getting thrown across I-70. I really don't. But at the same point in time, I think Jason Knoll's still wicked conflicted upstairs. I don't know if it's still some old Abatu demons running around in his head, or if it's just Jason not being able to get jobs done. It's going around in his head. I don't know. But good match, but just ignored the respect. Coastal, I'm really surprised he ignored the respect at the very, very end. Even though he's been a knucklehead lately, this is a guy like Sin Bodhi. This is not some first-year guy that's in the ring with. You're in the ring with Sin Bodhi.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's a couple things here. Number one, Sin Bodhi would be a great guy to have your back from time to time. He's not going to be your best friend, but if you want his respect, you can be like, hey, I need your help with something. And I can think of, not many more people I'd want to have on my side than Sin Bodhi in that locker room. The other part here, Mark, and you alluded to it a little bit here, is it respect? Or I think right now, Jason Knoll, he wants to be that diamond standard again. We've heard about it. We've heard him want to get there. I think now he may need to take a step back and reevaluate the situation because right now he's lost. I think that's a big thing about it. He escaped or he decided to come back from the Abatu and reclaim his diamond standard self, but he hasn't got any wins. He's got maybe one or two. I think the thing here is he needs to have a new identity. As much as he wants to be the diamond standard, and guys, we're all getting to that age. Father Time catches up with you. Maybe Jason Knoll needs to regroup and decide maybe he needs to go a platinum standard in this case and maybe figure out what he can do now that maybe the diamond standard couldn't do in the day, but now Jason Knoll can with a little, instead of all of that youthful, energy, maybe he's got some veteran experience he can rely on now.
I'm going to disagree just a little bit, playing devil's advocate. Maybe the respect he's looking for isn't from any particular person. Maybe it's he felt disrespected. He wasn't on NRW. He felt that he belonged there. And I got to be honest, he came. It's an unorthodox match, so we all found out the stipulation at the same time. I'm assuming he didn't have a whole lot of upper knowledge of it either. And, I think he held his own against a very big talent who did, as you said, Murky, he offered that respect. Maybe Jason got what he wanted out of that and doesn't give a damn what you and I think. But the one thing that I get called, I know I'm an old curmudgeon, and there were no flips, there were no flies, there were no V-triggers, but damn, that was a good match.
It was.
Just fists.
I like the old style beat 'em up style matches like that. That's what that was.
And that's kind of I think the part of what makes NRW such an intriguing show is, sometimes you think gimmick matches or stipulative matches or whatever it is that wrestling fans want to call them. You think, oh, it's got to be hardcore, and stipulation is body slam. A tag team breaks up. I think that's kind of the fun of our big summertime event that is NRW. But we're going to move on. 2 matches left, our co-main event. The first is for the Rocky Mountain Pro Championship. You've got Killer Curtis Cole, one of the most decorated talents in the history of Rocky Mountain Pro. He's taking on the Rocky Mountain Pro champion, David Drake, who has been on a tear. Lucas knows a thing or two about that. And this is a weapons match. And so, D'Lo Brown said this is going to be a little squeamish if you got, children or you might want to send them out of the room. That's the potential that was there. Coastal, I don't think that we knew what we were getting ourselves into with that match.
Yeah, I will say now, again, spoiler alert, and if you haven't watched the match yet, I would strongly suggest doing so not after you've just eaten or if you are squeamish in the bit about violence, because this match was exactly just a fight. It was weapons. And listen, the shirt may say I hate Curtis Cole, and I still do, but I will tell you I respect Curtis Cole after this match. You can say what you want about him using knucks in the past. They're 100% legal in this. And he absolutely came prepared. We see the knucks early on, with the boleo kind of, he had them tied in a string so he could swing them. He knew he couldn't get that close. This is a man that really, really sat down and thought about what he has to do to take care of this monster. And I'll tell you what, David Drake got his shots in too. I will give Curtis Cole credit to keep coming. A lot of other guys would have just laid there and wanted it to be over, as we have seen. David Drake is a monster. I'm going to fast forward to the end here, because what I saw out of Curtis Cole, people are going to call it maybe grotesque or just violent. Yes, it was, but we all said, what does it take to stop David Drake? I will tell you what it takes. Handcuffs and 5 shots to the head with a chair that is completely destroyed when you're done with it. That is what took care of David Drake.
Yeah.
You want to take care of a monster? Everyone always says, if you want to take care of a monster, think like one. David Drake would have done that. We saw him handcuff a bunch of people and hit them with lead pipe. Curtis Cole decided what's good for you is good for me. And as I said before, I know Curtis and I have not seen eye to eye lately with his new attitude, but damn it, Curtis, I respect you.
Marky, something happened in that matchup that I don't think any of the 4 of us, any of those in chat, any of those that have watched RMP over the last, we'll say, 8, 9, 10 months, we saw the crowd start to chant for David Drake in this matchup. And I got to say, a lot of heart from David Drake. I can't even believe I'm saying that. He never stopped. He never quit.
No, he didn't. He kept coming. David Drake gets his handcuffed behind his back, hitting the head with the chair. He keeps coming. He gets hit in the face with a kendo stick. He just kept coming. It was impossible to keep him down. And not only would he just keep coming, but he would get out of the way. Even when he was handcuffed, he had no ability to use his hands, his arms, nothing. He's running forward, throwing headbutts. The heart, like they say in The Grinch's heart grew 5 times the size that day. Drake had to have that much heart against somebody that was as vicious as Curtis Cole was, and Drake hadn't encountered. I almost started to feel bad.
Yeah.
In a weird sense for Drake.
I didn't have that on my bingo card for NRW.
No.
But after the third chair shot, you're like, "Ooh."
It went back even before that. While we're watching this match, look, in the beginning of it, you guys go ahead, tear yourselves apart. We see a kendo stick, and we see the chairs, and we just see all the stuff that both of these guys deserve from each other. Drake for everything he's done, and Cole for everything that he said and done. Okay. Drake knew he had to take it to a place. Cole knew he had to take it to a place. Drake brings out the thumbtacks. Drake cuts a piece of barbed wire and comes off of the apron with the elbow of doom through a table. These guys literally threw the city of Denver at each other. But it got to a certain point where you saw Cole change a little tiny bit, and I think I can tell you when it was. And when I started to notice it, when he grabbed those pliers, and he didn't just try to hit him with the pliers.
Yeah, pliers. Let's not forget he used pliers in this matchup.
Those are linemen's pliers that you would use on electrical lines outside, or fixing like a electric panel or something to that effect. He tried to relocate David Drake's face all over the Wimmer arena with it, rip his nose off. It almost looked like he was trying to gouge his eyes. At that point, Drake is now, in the first time, fighting for his life, and that was a unique position to see. And we saw that literally David Drake had no quit. And yes, Cole, with the chair shots, bends the chair, through the chair, puts his head through the chair 3 times. Even as Cole is celebrating with the Rocky Mountain Pro Championship over his shoulder, Drake is getting up.
Drake kicked out at 4.
Yeah. Drake is getting up, and you see Curtis Cole's face like, I got to get the hell out of here right now. And he stopped celebrating, and he just left for his own. So there is everything in the ring. There's tacks. There's chairs, there's kendo sticks, there's parts of David Drake's anatomy all over the place, but he's standing on his feet. You cannot keep this man down. I'm telling you, the heart he showed, I'm a little bit interesting to watch David Drake. And actually, you know what? He someday soon after this may actually have something to say about all of this. We don't know. Cole tried to get it out of him, shoved a mic in his face. And all we heard was a laugh, didn't we?
I'm sorry, Marky. No,
go right ahead.
I love Coastal and Marky's opinion, but I have been dying to get the opinion of Lucas Bradwell, because Lucas Bradwell despises Curtis Cole as much as I do, and I didn't know that was possible, and has been kidnapped not once but twice by David Drake. So Curtis Cole was, Lucas Bradwell's hoping that both men fall through a hole in the Wimmer and are never seen or heard from again. Lucas, I gotta hear from you what your thoughts on this match was.
This was probably the hardest match for me to ever watch, because you're right. I absolutely despise Curtis Cole for the person that he is, not for the wrestler. And that's why this is so hard for me to it was so hard for me to watch, because I know how great Curtis Cole is in the ring. I do. I will be the first one to tell you he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, no doubt about it. One of the all-time greats to ever come through Rocky Mountain Pro. But I just can't stand how he carries himself and how he just has no respect for anyone. And then you've got David Drake on the other hand, and he didn't care what he did to anybody. He didn't care, that he was ruining lives and almost killing people, for crying out loud.
Ending lives.
Yeah, ending people. And I was not the same person for a good few months after my experiences with David Drake. So yeah, I literally wanted them to kill each other. And there was a point where I thought that was happening. But I did not think that Curtis Cole could get to the depths that he got to. I didn't think it was possible. I know he's a total piece of crap, but I didn't think he had that in him to match David Drake. And to be honest with you, it looks like he was more at the end. He was more willing to go that length than even David Drake was. And that was mind-boggling to me. So now we have this Rocky Mountain Pro champion that hardly anybody can stand. I don't know if he has any friends in the locker room, to be honest with you.
I don't think he does.
Yeah, I don't think he cares. Yeah. And now we've seen this side of him that he's willing to go to that length. Now he's as dangerous as he's ever been, and we know how great of an actual wrestler he is. So we've got this champion that we all hate and that can't stand, and yet he's probably the best to ever do it in Rocky Mountain Pro. It just, I honestly don't know what to think about it besides that.
But in the end, he is a Grand Slam champion. He is a multi-time tag team champion. He's a charge champion, and now he's a 2-time Rocky Mountain Pro champion. It's hard to believe.
And it's on the Mount Rushmore of DBs nationwide.
But that would be yet another championship to have fallen on this evening.
And that's where we get to the historic relevance of this pay-per-view. We've had pay-per-views that have had up to 4 title changes, or we've had nights that have had 4. We've never had a night where 5 titles changed hands. First time in the history of this company.
And
now,
then
granted,
we still have another championship. We have another championship to talk about. Let's not get too in depth there, unless we want to spoil. But let's go ahead and start off. Damon Ace and Mercury Yaden, NRW Championship. It's your main event. Of course, it's the NRW event. So the NRW Championship shines as the, normally it is the RMP Championship. A ultimate endurance match. This one, so unique, so different, and gave you such just different looks on how wrestling can be. You've got 4 periods. You have to get a victory in a pinfall. The next round is a victory in a submission. Then there's a knockout, and then there is a count out. Marky, talk about the main event for the evening.
So we've seen Damon and Yaden for so long hating each other, going after the NRW. Damon going after Yaden. Yaden telling him to go away. Then he gets Yaden's ire, and now here we are. Here we are at NRW. Last year they encountered each other. This year, they're doing it at NRW for the NRW title in a match that's very, very similar to their wrestlers trial match that they had not long ago, but now we're adding the 4th each point. We have the possibility of overtime. Look, this whole thing has been very unpredictable between Damon and Yaden, and now here we have a match that is 4 or maybe even potentially 5 matches rolled into one. So if you're going to culminate it, this is the right way to do it. Period 1, we get into the pinfall moment, and both of these guys so familiar from that wrestler's trial match, from going back and forth with each other, getting attacked by each other, and nobody's taking a big chance early in the least bit. Very mat oriented, kind of feeling each other out, not really, putting the volume all the way up to 12 just yet, which is smart. Both of these guys showing all their XP and doing everything that they possibly can. Yaden ends up scoring the first pinfall, rolls Damon over. Damon had him in a nice front face lock. Yaden tried to get him up at a fireman's. Damon blocked it. Yaden rolled him and gets a 1-2-3. A very surprise pin because Yaden was this close to almost pinning himself in that moment as well. He got his shoulder up at 2.5. Damon gets counted for 3. And very quickly, Yaden has a 1-0 advantage. We're only a couple minutes in to these 15-minute periods. And now that pinfall period is over. Yaden is winning 1-0. We go to the submission element. And there is a theme. I think Yaden had a game plan. And looking back on it now with hindsight, is very obvious. Keep Damon Ace on the mat. Don't let Damon Ace get ahead of steam. Don't let Damon Ace get you in his hold, in his legs, in a grapevine, in his arms. You get that rear naked choke. There's so many ways Damon Ace can beat you, but there's a lot of ways Mercury Yaden can beat you. And many of Yaden's ways are on the canvas, and he has that superior XP in the mat wrestling. So he does a good job at keeping Damon as grounded as he possibly can. But Damon's still at this point very, very strong. Keeps working up. Yaden gets him back down. Damon gets back up, gets Yaden down. Very back and forth through the first couple. But Damon quickly locks an armbar, albeit very similar to Alberto Del Rio's old armbar that he had. I don't quite know the exact name of it, what they call it, but he gets that armbar locked in. Yaden taps immediately. This is very reminiscent of that Wrestlers Challenge match. They were wasting no time fighting these pins, fighting these submissions, control and conserve that energy. And both guys, here we are, we're 1-1. And both guys are still relatively fresh, relatively good. We have a little rest period. They do grab a swig of water, which is fine. Now, here we go, gentlemen. This is where the volume, in my opinion, gets turned up to like 12, 13 here, because now we enter the knockout period. This is the beat-em-up time. And in the beat-em-up time, on paper anyway, you got to give a lot of this to Damon Ace, just from having that presence about him, the bigger character, the taller man. And Damon immediately, you could tell he was waiting for this. His whole wrestling demeanor changed, and he went into MMA mode. Instantly, his stance, his how he protected himself, all the shots to the gut, and getting Damon. This is where I believe Damon Ace really earned his keep in this match. He wears down Mercury Yaden, takes some punishment on his own, but Damon really wears down Yaden in this one. Damon's punches just hurt more. They hit harder. Yaden's got that one punch power with the punch to the belly, but Damon's got the combos in the corner. Gets Yaden up, makes Yaden eat a shotgun elbow to the face very quick off the ropes, surprises him, and then kind of just knocks him out. We get the 10 count, and that's it right there. So now we get Damon Ace winning 2-1 as we go into the count-out period, and this is where it also keeps going down, and this is where Yaden goes into one of Damon's tricks, and I saw this firsthand. I was there at Milestone when Damon Ace tied Mercury Yaden to the ring post and got a 10 count out of me to win the NRW title. Yaden went to school and pulls out that same chain that they used at Milestone. Damon gets rid of it, saying, you ain't going to do my trick to me, but Yaden gets it done. Huge spear to the outside. They both go tumbling out of the ropes. And then Yaden does find a moment where he can lock Damon's foot to the ring post. Gets back in at 4.8, and Damon Ace is now counted out. And boys, we hit the tie. We hit the 2-2. We're going to the overtime period where it's just sudden death. Anything goes right here, right now. And guess who shows up? Yes. Guess who shows up here, ladies and gentlemen? Damon Ace's old associates, the guys that say that they are there and will have his back, J.K. Pop, show up. Pull the referee out of the ring when Damon is about to get DDT'd. And then we see him coming in. We see a kaiju buster to Yaden. And now they're trying to convince Damon. Damon, to my shock, first of all, this whole match has been down the middle. Just sheer aggression on Damon Ace's part, which you can't blame him for. Mercury Yaden's same way. Down the middle, pure aggression as much as they can. But here, Damon Ace wants nothing to do with JK Pop, and I can respect that. Out of Damon Ace wanting to do this himself, end this. We had an interview here with him not long ago who said this needs to end. I need to end this. He said, many times, I need to end this. And then JK Pop comes out and the whole thing goes to hell. Because then Damon starts fighting JK. They hit him with a kaiju buster. And then I'd like to hear Lucas's comments on the way that this continued to go, Lucas and Titus, on D'Lo Brown and Danger Dean coming in and laying the law down to those JK knuckleheads who imposed themselves in this. What'd you think about seeing those two fellas in the ring, laying it down?
I loved it because it finally we get someone to kind of take charge and not let JK Pop ruin something that they've done this time and time again. They've
so many
ruined tag team title matches. They've ruined other kind of matches. So it's good to see that both Dean and D'Lo were not going to have any of it. And I believe Dean kind of gave D'Lo, the power, kind of handed the baton over to D'Lo to kind of make the announcement, say, hey, let's do something. And had the whole locker room come out. And I even went out there to make sure that no other crap was going to happen. I had to watch this firsthand as we had, the whole entire locker room kind of surrounding the ring, watching this, because we had to see a clear-cut winner. We had to. Mercury Yaden and Damon Ace, they had to have a clear-cut winner. They were not going to take it. Obviously, Dean and D'Lo weren't going to take it. The crowd wasn't going to take it. The locker room didn't want it. Everyone wanted to see a clear-cut winner. So we had everyone out there watching it, and it was just an amazing moment to have everyone kind of witness this history, even though it may have not have went the way that some people wanted it to. But we at least finally got a clear-cut winner, and still your NRW champion, Damon Ace.
I got
outstanding.
It was
match.
It's more than just an outstanding match. I gotta say, it was an outstanding series of matches, and it ended in a way that I don't think anyone would have expected, in that a handshake from Damon Ace. That was probably, I would have said that's the shock of Shocktober if this was Shocktober. That it was for the first time ever, I think we saw respect from Damon Ace. I don't even think Damon Ace respected Dustin Urich. I think I think he met somebody that he can actually say, all right, you're all right. I hate your guts. Sure, right. Quite a shock there at the end of that matchup, gentlemen.
Yeah, I think it was one of those things. I think it was, you've been to war this many times with somebody. It's like, okay, yeah, you've taken the best I've had to give. I've taken the best you had to give. It does help when you come out on top.
It does.
And I think Damon felt he finally there was no questions. It ended the way it ended. He didn't take the assist from J.K. Pop. He did what he said he was going to do. This was an accomplishment.
And I got to tell you, the most pleasuring part was to see Caden Koyama up in the air, that sky high. I would have paid good money to have a second one.
Oh, I'd have paid double if it meant Casanova had to eat one too. I'd have paid double.
Oh, they absolutely were messing with the real deal now.
You're damn right. That's pretty clever there, Coastal. Final thoughts, gentlemen. Final thoughts on NRW 2023.
I'll say this much. The landscape is different. Titles have changed hands. Teams have disbanded. Rivalries have ended. What the hell is going on with Damon Ace? This isn't the Damon Ace. He threw us for a loop in the interview. He threw us for a loop in the show. What's next for Damon Ace? There's a lot of questions were answered, but now there's a lot of speculation going forward. I love it.
Coastal?
This is exactly what Roddy Piper has always said. Just when you think you have all the answers, I change the question. Just when we thought we knew everything that was going to happen and we had a pretty good idea, we talked in our preview shows about how, oh yeah, this will happen. And we feel pretty confident on this. We were iffy on a couple, but I'll tell you what, if anybody had this as a perfect bracket, if you will, go buy a Mega Millions ticket because you're going to be very rich because there's absolutely no one that could have called this.
They're
this
lying.
will make you know you need to tune in every live event that they show. You need to watch Hockey Mountain Pro because you never have.
Lucas Bradwell, history made tonight.
Yep.
Every championship but one changed hands tonight.
5 titles. Never has happened in the history of this company in one night to have that many title changes. I had to come home and check my calendar and make sure we weren't already in October because I thought it was. This was because it was shocking moment after shocking moment. It just was, it started with the Ignition pre-show and it just continued throughout the whole NRW. Sergey kind of kicked things off and it just went from there. So it was just amazing night. And you're right. The landscape has completely changed. It's almost like we are starting a whole new chapter with Rocky Mountain Pro now after this event. That's really what it feels like.
And
feels like it.
You got to wonder about
live stream the victory parade.
You got to wonder what the future looks like here. Now you've got, last time Curtis Cole was the Rocky Mountain Pro champion, he was very well loved by the RMP faithful. I had a part in changing his course of history at that point. We've got one of the fastest rising charge champions ever, maybe since Anaya when he first won the very first charge championship. You've got an upstart in the Lockette division. I can't tell you guys, it's going to be fun to watch. And Lucas, when can the folks watch? Well, let's hold that. Let's talk about, is there anybody in chat with any questions that you guys might have for any of the dudes? Any thoughts on NRW? Any thoughts again on our rewind earlier this evening and looking back at Milestone 2, which was fantastic. I have, as I said, I've never seen that footage. I don't know. Nobody has really until tonight. It's kind of a fun night tonight.
Yeah, we saw two title changes on the rewind because we saw,
two titles on the rewind. Yeah. Apropos, I believe that rewind went along with
and
that.
We didn't even do that on purpose. I wish we could say we set that up. We didn't even do that.
Just a real quick to mesh the two together, if we can, just to do a little fantasy booking here. Could you imagine Jesse Williams here now and the matches he could have had?
Ask that question.
Damon Ace. Bruce Wayans, even Yaden now. I mean, what David Drake? Jesse Williams would have fit right in.
Bruce Wayans and Jesse Williams would have been a hell of a rivalry because Jesse Williams thought very highly of himself, but he didn't like anyone else to be a showboat. And
Bruce, Bruce is the showboat.
That's Bruce, right?
So So yeah, so
in the ring, out of the ring, doesn't matter.
And Bruce calls himself BW. Jesse Williams called himself JW. Oh, that would have been, that story wrote itself right there.
Those promos would have been gold against each other. But seriously, how do you think a guy like, let's just take a Jesse Williams, because he was very featured this evening. We've seen a lot with Matt Yaden and Damon Ace. We were just talking about that. His old rivalry with how do you think a Jesse Owens would have done in the modern landscape? Not necessarily against Bruce, but would he have competed?
Oh, I absolutely think so. I mean, I think that he was a little bit ahead of his time in the episodes that we watched today. He was somebody that was getting a look from top companies across the country. He was somebody who was big, strong, very agile for a man his size. We talked about his drop kick in that first match that we watched with. Was that the one with Duff? That was the drop kick, or was that with?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
And I guess I think he would had done very, very well. And if we're talking about Jesse Williams having gone through the last 11 years and being here and having even more here, that could change the landscape completely. Lucas, you're the expert here.
I would say Jesse Williams would have been just fine. I think the only thing he had going up against him is he was already one of the older guys in NRW at the age of, I believe he was 32, the episode we just watched. So, he'd be darn near in his mid 40s by now. So that would have maybe been a little bit, but because of how great of shape he was in already, and I know how serious he took his physical, he always would work out, always watched what he ate. He probably still would be in great shape if he was still with us. So yeah, I would say he would be a top star today. I'd say most of the guys that we've been seeing, I think a lot of them would still be able to compete. I think if Tyler Cintron was still wrestling, I know he's had some matches here and there, but he's kind of quit the full-time wrestling. I think he'd still be a big star as well. So we had some good guys, but I think right now our roster that we currently have is a little bit ahead of even what they had back then.
I would absolutely agree. Comment from Queen Vampirus, of course, one of our super fans. Since I watched the NRW back in the day, this NRW was wow. I'm excited to see what RMP is going to do next, and I gotta agree. It's kind of it was kind of a wow evening. Like I said at the beginning of our review, it was a night. Well, Lucas, you put it was historic. Not what I had, again, not on my bingo card. Every championship but one changing hands. I got to ask a question before we get out of here, though, and I'm going to let you guys pontificate on it. How does that play in Mercury Yaden's head? He's the only one not to win.
For someone who's known Mercury Yaden for as long as I have, I got to think that he's been through a lot of struggles, personally and with just different things. And with this company, you got to wonder if it's not playing with him a little bit, and maybe he's questioning exactly what's next for him as far as his in-ring wrestling career. I know it's kind of, that's hard to say because we've seen how great he's been even over the last year or so. It seems like he's had kind of a renaissance to his career.
Oh, absolutely.
And really he's had some of his best matches over this past year. So I don't really question that he can't do it, but mentally, what kind of state is he going to be in? And I think that is going to be the main question is mentally, is he going to be able to kind of overcome this because of just how much he's put into this rivalry, how much he's put in
this
alone.
Yeah. Lucas, go ahead. I'm sorry, Chris.
Oh no, I just wanted to. I agree with Lucas 100%, and we got to remember, just to add to it, not only does Yaden have his own win-loss record on his shoulders, he runs the company too, guys. He doesn't. We know he doesn't make all the decisions, but He's the one that is meeting with, the
potential
people that they're holding-
sponsors
yeah,
and
sponsors and all
he-
that. There's
and
a
he's
lot
the-
that goes into it.
and he runs the school as well on top
Yeah.
of it. So it's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff on him in there, and you just got to wonder about that mental side of things. Every championship has changed hands tonight. He want he wanted this one personally, professionally, and then you add on maybe a little pressure going. Wow, everybody else is winning. I damn well better too. I guess we're gonna have to wait and see how that plays out, Marky.
Yeah, end of the feud, end of the rivalry, emotional roller coaster with this guy, with Damon Ace over the last year, ups, downs. The older I get, the more I realize that sometimes instead of just running right at your problem, sometimes it's better to take a step back and maybe take a breath of fresh air and kind of really think about what's going on. This took a lot out of Mercury Aiden over the last year or so, this feud, this rivalry, this blood feud with Damon. After Damon just had one, it seemed like with Balaam Lynx, when they were going up, down, left, and right with each other, now it was back to Yaden. I think the man just needs a breath of fresh air. He's going to reevaluate. He knows his career is not tarnished by this loss to Damon, but I think a breath of fresh air might suit the man good so he can really reevaluate what's happening and what's going on. Because there's a lot on a man's shoulders when heavy is that head that wears the crown of the place. You got to really prioritize.
And like you said, so it doesn't taint his career in any fashion.
No,
anyway.
I don't think so.
Not at all.
No.
Lucas, everyone's sitting here. They're just joining. They're quiet in the background because we love lurkers. Lurking is a great thing to do. You don't have to chat to be part of the RMP faithful. But if they're on Lucas the first time and they've heard all about this, when can they watch Rocky Mountain Pro going forward during the week?
Well, we have all sorts of programming. We're on even different platforms, but we are have our home base right here on YouTube. So every Tuesday night is our flagship show, Charged, which starts at 6 o'clock Mountain Time, Mountain Standard Time, which you can watch all the great action, all the great stars of Rocky Mountain Pro. Right after that, immediate following, you, Titus Machiavelli, are filling in for Johnny Deathrop. But Johnny Deathrop is usually the host of the Dudes and Belts Recharged with these two fellows that I'm with, Coastal Crusader and Maki Pins, as they review the great action on Charge. And then on Thursday nights, we do our live show, our live wrestling show, Ignition, which I do the play-by-play, either with Derek Stone, but last week it was with the great Bud Bellflower. So do that. And Ignition is kind of our secondary show that we kind of showcase some of the up-and-coming talent, plus some of the established stars are on there as well. It's kind of a great mixture. You get a lot of great wrestling action. Right after that, the Dudes and Belts, once again, they go reignited as they review all the great action on Ignition. And then every Sunday, we are here doing the Rocky Mountain Pro Rewind at 7 o'clock Mountain Time, which we go back to the history of this company, which goes all the way back to 2010, which when we were called NRW. And we are reviewing all of that stuff. And we kind of just talk about everything going on in Rocky Mountain Pro as well, and just have a good time with you guys. We do that for a couple hours every Sunday night. So and we're also on, like I said, we're on other platforms. We're on Rumble, we're on Kick. We still do some stuff on Twitch. So make sure you check us out. If YouTube's not your favorite platform, but you still want to check us out, you can use those other platforms as well. But we're all over. So.
And of course, on social media, everywhere on social media, RMP Wrestling, and of course, rmpwrestling.com. There's where you can find out, event information, the roster page, information about the Al Snow Wrestling Academy. That's the official training school of Rocky Mountain Pro. If you want to be a pro wrestler, a manager, production, you just want to get, involved in pro wrestling in some way, check out rmpwrestling.com/train to get all the details there. Any final thoughts on the evening, gents?
It's more of the unexpected, and you got to keep watching.
That's the beautiful part about RMP. This is why I love pro wrestling. Just when you think questions are answered, 2 of them are answered and 5 more are asked. I absolutely love this stuff. RMP doing it better than most everybody else out there.
I can't wait for Charge. Charge is coming up this Tuesday. We're probably we always usually hear from a new Rocky Mountain Pro champion, so that means we're probably going to have to hear some garbage.
I would rather hear from David Drake, to be completely honest, than listen to that verbal diarrhea.
Yeah, and will we ever hear from David Drake? Maybe
that would be something.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things that could happen. So you guys got to watch Tuesday night and see.
And that'll be 6 p.m. Tuesday night Mountain Time. That's, of course, 8 o'clock for those on the East. And immediately following, a few minutes, not immediately, me, the dudes, will be here on Tuesday. I'll be filling in as hosting for Johnny Deathdrop one more time. But for the Coastal Crusader, the ref himself, Maki Pins, the encyclopedia, Lucas Bradwell, I am the evil genius of professional wrestling, Titus Machiavelli. Thank you, guys. See you on Tuesday. Take care, guys.
Still hate Curtis Cole.